spot today, Charlie Bates moves out to left, and that's exactly what you'll see tonight across the Cape League and beyond the season.
We'll be right back at McKeon Park.
Ava Fernandez here with Jake Schaffner from North Dakota State, an infielder. Last night you had an RBI and a walk-off. How do you feel stepping up to the plate for the first time?
Yeah, no, it felt good to finally get up there, getting that bat, because I haven't gotten a bat in a while, so it felt really good.
How are you taking that opportunity into tonight, kind of just with the rest of the season looking forward?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully just carry it on, get on base a few times, wreak havoc on the base pass, and just play my game.
Anything you're looking forward to specifically tonight? First home game?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what fans we get, kind of see how the home crowd reacts, and just, yeah, looking for a good experience.
Thank you so much. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Get ready for big results with our small machines. With more power, performance, comfort, and savings. They're ready for every job. And we're ready with plenty of inventory, the best support in the business, same-day parts availability, and locations across the Northeast. So you can always be ready to work. Milton Cat, always ready.
Starting lineups for the Harwich Mariners. Leading off is Trey Broussard with Harrison Feinberg and Eric Becker backing up the middle three. Matt Conti, Jordan Jaffe, Shintaro Inoue, and the final three are Maddox Maloney, Davis Baker, and Nico Brini. Defensive alignment for Hyannis looks like this from left to right in the outfield. Hayden Federico, Charlie Bates, and Andrew Williamson. The infield, Ray Velasquez, Jake Schaffner, Gabe Roy, Miles Bailey, with Brody Briggs behind the plate giving the signs to one Trey Beard. Both of these teams, gentlemen, are coming off a win. They both won in very interesting fashion. Both had a very big inning. For Harwich, it was the first inning. They brought in 6-7 runs, and then for Hyannis, it was the 8th inning. But interestingly, on both sides, it was largely due to walks. So tonight it feels like it's really going to be a defensive battle.
Absolutely. You'd be hard-pressed to say you're going to see the exact same pitchers duel we saw last night, at least in Hyannis Wareham, where you saw that 1-1 tie be preserved until that 8th inning explosion from the Harbor Hawks. And I think, though, with a couple of really great pitchers on the mound in Dempsey and Beard, you could see a game like that and a lot more walks to be doled out across the game for these two pitchers.
Trey Beard, talked a little bit about him before that interview with Ava. Want to give a little bit more context to just how good this guy is. He's a rising junior, committed to Florida State after 2 years at Florida Atlantic University. Had a team best ERA, 3.14, over 86 innings pitched, and good enough to win him first team All-ACC. He's the first FAU pitcher since Austin Gomer in 2013 to eclipse 100 strikeouts in a season. I think that's well worthy of a first team All-ACC or AAC.
You with your conferences, Grant.
I know.
Yesterday you go Atlantic Coast Conference. Today it's the AAC, the American Athletic Conference.
It got me.
We're going to get you right tomorrow. But to your point about Beard, not just eclipsing the 100 strikeout mark for the first time in a long time. How about 186 strikeouts from Trey Beard? Just doubly impressive stuff from the southpaw, formerly of FAU, fulfilling a lifelong dream by transferring to Florida State. He grew up a Seminole fan, close to Tallahassee, native in Florida. Exciting stuff for him to get to go and play for Florida State next year.
So we're talking about the strikeouts, that 12.3 K per nine this past year at his final year at FAU, but how about the home runs per nine at 0.5? That just shows the soft contact that Trey Beard is allowing. He's getting a lot of swings and misses. We see the strikeout numbers, but when this guy is able to allow opponents to put the ball in play, it's not all hit hard, it's not all hit far, and it's going to really work out for him.
His last start was back in May 20th, actually, against Tulane, the first game of the AAC tournament. I got it right that time, Gio.
Sure did.
He got the loss, pitched for 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned with 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. So not his best outing. And something that we talked about a lot last night was how long it's been for some of these players the last time that they played. It's really going to be interesting to see how quickly Trey Beard is able to come out and throw strikes.
Well, it wasn't that way for Will Libbard. At least it seemed that way through his first 4 innings, his only 4 innings of work as the starter for Hyannis last night. He fanned 6 Gateman batters in just 4 innings of work. He did allow the run, but 1 run is more than enough for an offense to lift a team to victory. That's exactly what we saw last night. It may have taken the Harbor Hawks a while, guys, but they eventually did get their offensive explosion and en route to a 7-2 win, and now you get to play here at home for the first time in 2025.
It's Trey Broussard leading things off for the Mariners. 6 foot, 170-pound rising junior at Houston. Went 1 for 3 in yesterday's game against the Bourne Braves. That one hit was a double. Also crossed home plate twice and stole a base. Nails one into center field. And Charlie Bates is there to get the first out.
Good stuff there from Trey Beard in his first pitch in Cape Cod back in a while. Of course, Beard was here in Hyannis for a while. Pitched for the Harbor Hawks last summer. 6.55 ERA in 3 starts, and that's not reflective of the Trey Beard we saw all spring at FAU.
Charlie Bates out there in center field started last night's game over at shortstop. The check swing taken for a ball from Harrison Feinberg, but he was then moved to left field. Cameron Chialoy, who was hitting in the 8th spot, got hit by a pitch and had to get pulled out because he couldn't continue playing. Nailed foul. So Jake Schaffner had to come in, who we talked about in the open. Schaffner was moved to short. Bates was moved to left. And now all of a sudden he's in center. So he's getting another new look.
And that's exactly the kind of versatility that a field manager wants to see from anybody in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
1-1. Swing and a miss.
Because players will be in and out, rosters will be constantly in flux, and with that much fluctuation, the guys that stay here for the entire summer need to be stalwarts and able to play anywhere in the field.
A little bit high on the 1-2 from Beard.
And I don't doubt that augments them going back to school. Their college coaches, they love to see playing all over the field because it increases your versatility.
That one well away. It's a full count. Feinberg, he went 0 for 3 in last night's game against the Bourne Braves. Was able to get himself on base, and then came around to score and struck out twice. Payoff. Gets him down. A really good breaking ball, and Feinberg just swung right over the top.
Yeah, beautiful breaking ball. At Northeastern, Feinberg popped 18 home runs, but a lot of that was on the fastball. One of the breaking balls have been kind of a difficulty for him, and Trey Beard really playing to the advantage.
Here's Eric Becker. Takes a ball down low. 6'3" rising junior at Virginia. Went 1 for 3 last night at home against Bourne. On one hit, he did bring home a runner. He also walked once, but struck out twice. And he's got 2 straight balls.
It's really cool to see how confident Trey Beard is in this breaking ball. Another reverse approach from a Hyannis starter. We saw Will Libbert go breaking ball fastball to a lot of the pitchers in the early innings.
Nailed down the right field side. Williamson can't get there. Becker puts on the brakes, and it's a 2-out single for the third baseman.
Shouldn't deter Beard's confidence in that breaking ball, Graham. Just put that one a touch over the plate. A great piece of hitting from Becker to stick the bat out and try to find something on that breaking ball after Feinberg went down, fooled in front of it. But make no mistake that Beard will continue to lean on the breaking ball a bit.
Matt Conti is going to try to build upon his teammate's single. 6'2", rising sophomore from Wake Forest. Takes a ball inside. Conti, this guy, a lot of raw power, just didn't really get a chance to show it in his freshman year. Only played 27 games at Wake Forest. He did get a hit in 15 of the 24, but he found his momentum very late in the season. Got a hit in 6 of his last 7, hit .308 over that stretch. So I'm sure, Max, that he would love to carry that momentum into the summer.
Yeah, it's all about just how the hitter's feeling, and especially when you're not getting the most consistent opportunities, but you have some foundation that you're able to build off. Of course, a lot of those hits in a lot of contested games, and it's going to be an opportunity for Conti this summer to get a lot more reps in and really find his swing.
Conti takes ball 2 in the at-bat. Sure that the Mariners would love to work Trey Beard's pitch count up as high as possible. He is a guy that can give you 5, 6, 7 innings whenever he really wants.
Knowing that this could be the only time you get him, too. You want to maximize that.
2-1. Foul down the right field side.
If you're Mitch Carricker in this coaching staff, I would want Beard to go 6 or 7 if you can, because this could be the only time you have one of the best pitchers in college baseball coming into next spring.
He went 5 or 6 innings pretty much every time that he pitched. I mean, 86 flat total innings, and he only allowed 2 earned runs, more than 2 earned runs, 6 times. 10 times he pitched, 10 times he started, and he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs.
Now, the flip side of that, and this is typical of the Cape League, but if I'm Florida State's head coach, I don't want Trey Beard going 6 innings tonight to risk anything going into next year. One of the marquee transfers in the recent portal window.
2-2 is low. Beard frustrated at that pitch. So it's another full count. The Mariners doing a good job of working his pitch count up again. Becker over at first. The pitch swung on and missed. Beard allows a single but gets 2 Ks in the inning to shut down the Mariners in the first home half of the 2025 season.
Your future begins at Dean College.
Make a difference.
Leave your mark.
Break the mold.
Be a leader.
Achieve unimagined heights.
Believe in yourself.
Make lifelong friends.
This is your time.
Your place.
Your home. Your Dean.
It all starts here at Dean College.
Evan Dempsey gets the nod for the Harwich Mariners in this ball game. Dempsey, a two-way player. He hits and he pitches, and guess what? He does both very, very well. But today, he's on the mound.
Yeah, and this is a guy, folks, that you're going to want to look at, whether you're an MLB scout or just a fan that appreciates baseball. We could be looking at a Shohei Ohtani of sorts. He was given the Olerud Award this year for the best two-way player in the nation. The fact that that's even a thing is really, really cool for baseball fans. See a bit of Jack Caglianone in his game. Of course, not called up to the Royals quite yet, but Jake Dempsey certainly has many of the assets that Caglianone poses in his game. And yesterday he was impactful. He got hit by a pitch to score a run in that explosion of a first inning for Harwich yesterday. And we'll see what he has on the mound, now coming from hitting to pitching in back-to-back days.
Here's the batting order for the home Hawks. Jake Schaffner is going to lead off with Andrew Williamson and Ray Velasquez behind. Miles Bailey, Hayden Federico, and Charlie Bates make up the middle three, with Ryan McKay, Gavin Roy, and Brody Briggs rounding out the 9. Jake Schaffner, like we alluded to in the open, did not start in yesterday's game. Baseball on his lead hand in his second at bat in the 4th inning, but he made the most of his opportunity. Went 1 for 1, RBI, drew a walk. He nails the first pitch, but it goes foul.
Oh.
Hits one of the light posts out there.
Target practice for Jake Schaffner, especially going the other way. And
yeah,
this is the kind of stuff we saw from only 2 plate appearances, but a fighter at the plate. One of the Harbor Hawks' best plate protectors coming into this game.
Takes a ball outside. He's a rising junior at North Dakota State University. In 2025, led his team in hits and runs, scored 11 more runs than the next highest guy, and tallied 19 more hits than the next highest guy behind him. 1-1. Just catches the outside edge.
Gio alluded to it a little bit early, the defensive versatility of guys like Charlie Bates. How about Coach Carricker asking a lot of Schaffner to come off the bench and really just be able to come in, make a big impact? Was on base both times with that walk, an RBI walk in the later innings, but then that lead single to really start a rally going.
And you got to think that for a guy of his caliber, he's probably not used to coming off the bench that much. Takes a ball low, it's 2-2, or 3-2 now. So for him to be able to come in and pick up like he started, like he was right there, makes it duly impressive.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need from guys on the Cape League, as we said at the top of the show, Graham, to be the ability to plug and play. Next guy up.
It's nailed into center field, sending Broussard back towards the warning track, but not too far back. Both teams get a fly out to center to start out their defensive days.
And that's an at-bat you're happy with. Again, if you're Schaffner, you fought off some pitches. You saw what Dempsey had to offer. We saw a solid breaking ball to fastball rotation from Dempsey. Like, again, a more conventional approach to start with the fastball. I imagine you'd have to be hard-pressed to bring the heat here with the most powerful hitter in this lineup up at the plate.
Andrew Williamson swings on the first pitch, gets it through the gap. Andrew Williamson gets his first hit of the summer. It's an RBI in the bottom of the first at home.
Case in point, you give Andrew Williamson a pitch to hit, he is going to take advantage of it. I'm shocked that he didn't do it yesterday. Of course, he was hit by a pitch twice, did find his way to the base pass, but now if he's starting to see this ball better, it could spell even more trouble for opponents if he gets on base more often.
Sets the table for Ray Velasquez. He nails the first pitch as well. Feinberg charging in, and it drops in front of him. Williamson can only advance one. He had to kind of hesitate to make sure Feinberg couldn't charge in and make that snag. And I do just want to correct myself. I'm pretty sure I said Williamson had an RBI hit in his last at-bat, which is very much so not the case. I meant to say it is single, and for some reason RBI came out. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Well, an RBI could be due with 6'4", 257 Miles Bailey trotting to the dish. All sorts of power. He looks the part, folks, and he plays it very well. Bailey went on a 5-game home run streak to end the season that carried into Florida State's regional appearance this past spring.
Lays off on a ball. He had 56 RBIs in his freshman season at Florida State. 19 home runs, second in the entire conference. Absolute stud. Went 1 for 3 yesterday. One of only a few to get a hit. He nails one to right field. Feinberg can't get there. It's over his head. Williamson, it gets the wave coming home, and he scores with ease. Some trouble in the outfield. Shintaro Inoue couldn't get the relay throw, and it's an easy score for Andrew Williamson, an RBI in the first at-bat of the day for Miles Bailey.
Well, you figure it was only a matter of time. You really liked the at-bat you saw from Bailey yesterday. A couple walks, the big RBI hit back in the third inning. But here he gets a pitch to hit. As Gio said, when Williamson gets one over the plate, he'll take advantage. How about when Bailey does? That's a clear mistake pitch. He gets extended. A 1-0 Harbor Hawks lead, and just like that, 3 consecutive hits.
And 2 are still in scoring position for Hyannis. Hayden Federico takes a strike on the outside edge.
That ball from Bailey was hit hard. Just a clean, crisp sound off the bat, barrel to barrel on the fastball from Dempsey. Deposits it into right field.
Bailey's first extra base hit of the season. He had 11 during his freshman year at FSU and gets a quick one in the 2025 Summer League season. Hayden Federico 0 for 2 yesterday, but he did draw 2 walks. And a slow breaking ball, it just misses.
I think that plays to the point we were discussing a bit yesterday and into today, Graham, about guys shaking off the rust. For all 3 of these batters that have just come to the plate and reached base, Williamson, Velasquez, and Bailey, not superstar days yesterday like their characters would pose.
2-1 fouled off.
But now they come to the plate for the first time in this game, having already seen Cape League pitching, and look at the result.
And I think that also speaks to maybe why Evan Dempsey's having a slower start. First time for him pitching in the Cape League this summer. First time for him pitching since back in May.
Almost that process in reverse for Dempsey, who's having to go through a new slate to start the day here. Go ahead.
No, please.
Versus Bailey, Velasquez, and Williamson have all played, have all gotten game and understood that action. Now they're along the base pass to show for it.
Dempsey did have his worst start of the season and his final start of the season against Stenson University in the ASUN Championship. Went for 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned, all of which were earned, and he walked 2, struck out 4. That's pretty wild to say that allowing 5 runs is your worst start of a season, but it was only on 4 days rest, so he didn't have as much time to prepare his body, prepare his mind maybe. But Max, wonder if that's maybe affecting his mentality coming in, the fact that he had a poor last start before going into the summer ball.
Well, of course, you just want to redeem yourself, and as Gio mentioned, you know, it's almost the reverse for the pitchers. You have to kind of ramp up, start again, start the entire process when your last start is in May. And, of course, you're really thinking about the last performance you had on the mound. Still an unbelievable season, that 1.97 ERA. But I could tell, you know, it's tough in the first inning when you're already getting hit to really come back and bear down and make your pitches.
1.97 ERA, best in the conference. Best on the team as well, obviously. He also had the best batting average on the team. That coming in at 309. Nailed to center, the 2-2 pitch. Broussard there for the second out. Velasquez going to try to tag and will. So a second comes across for Hyannis. They got an early 2-0 lead.
Picturesque at bat there from Hayden Federico. Fight off a couple pitches. You make Dempsey force you to chase. Federico shows the maturity that he's developed at Ole Miss. He's only coming off of his freshman year, All-SEC freshman team for the Rebs this past year in Oxford. And you can see that although it's an out, it's a productive out. It brings Velasquez across, and now, just like that, Hyannis up 2.
To strike on the low half of the zone for Charlie Bates. Hyannis already with 3 hits in this game. It took them 6 innings yesterday to get 3 hits. This game already could not look more different than yesterday's. There's a ball. Speaks to just the game of baseball, I feel like. It is truly, you can have one game one day followed up with the best game of your life the next. You just never really know what you're going to have until you step up to that plate, take your first at bat, or step on the mound and throw your first pitch.
To that point, Graham, it feels like patchwork every day. You never know what you're going to get. It almost, you play golf, you know, you feel like you're taking the same swings. You feel like you're throwing the same balls from the same release point, and it just doesn't go where you want it to.
Yeah.
Good lesson for life, too.
That's right. Charlie Bates, rising sophomore at Stanford. Swings over the 1-2, and that's the end of the inning. Hyannis gets 2 to come across, but Dempsey prevents further damage. Hyannis on top early.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group, protecting the possible.
There hasn't been a ton of training when it comes to bat speed or products for players to be able to train bat speed. You can improve your bat speed and reach your goals working 10 to 15 minutes a day on this a couple of times a week. That's a no-brainer for every player.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
The lights at McKeon Park stay bright all season long thanks to the NAC Cape Cod. The NAC offers 2 locations, Hyannis and Orleans, both offering delicious burgers, tacos, sandwiches, and more. Visit thenaccapecod.com to order online today. The NAC Cape Cod is proud to be the Light Up the Park sponsor of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks all season long. Trey Beard ready for his second inning of action, and again, maybe his only start for Hyannis this summer. He's going to get the call-up, or has already gotten the call-up for USA Baseball, so he could be taking off really any day now. But cool nonetheless for these fans and for the team to get to watch him pitch and maybe lift them to a quick start.
And hopefully reward these fans with an extended outing. There were 12 occasions this spring where Beard stretched it to at least the 5th inning. Hoping for that here.
Jordan Jaffe takes a big cut at his first pitch. Jaffe, a rising senior at the University of Richmond, however, is in the transfer portal. So trying to decide where he wants to land for his next season. Swings on a breaking ball. Had a lot of talent coming out of high school. University of Richmond just kind of felt right for him. He battled through a couple injuries, but then had a great past 3 seasons with Richmond and is now waiting on draft day. It's a drop third strike, or he thought it was a drop third strike, but not the case. It is just a strikeout And that's number 3 of the day for Beard. He's working quickly.
He looks awfully comfortable, too. And this is a hallmark of college baseball. Guys in MLB keen to take their time a bit more because they're seasoned veterans, feel like pitching styles obviously vary. I feel like across college baseball, we see more and more pitchers that work at rapid rates at times because that's what works for them. That's what they've seen.
Slow swing from Inouye.
And they're naturally going to be more accustomed to the pitch clock. And granted, they're both instituted at the same time, but you play some more games in a shorter stretch of time. You start earlier in the year, and that could impact it for sure.
Inouye fouls off the second pitch.
Classic changing speeds right there. He went back-to-back changeups, going back to the last at-bat on the strikeout, opens up this at-bat against Jaffe, and then he goes with a fastball, and what do you know, he's late.
That one bounces well in the dirt. After 2 great pitches like that, wonder, is that just slipping of a grip or maybe trying something different? What usually happens in that case in your mind?
Well, you could see based on the body language, he wasn't happy with himself after the pitch. You never want to have an uncompetitive miss like that, but it looked like he was trying to go with that pitcher's pitch to really dot the corner. Unfortunately, not able to get that perfect release on it, and that's where we saw the spike.
Inouye battling in this at-bat now. It's a rising senior from Kansas State, spent 2 seasons at Western Nebraska Community College where he led in pretty much every batting category both years. Broken back, lifted into the shallow outfield, and it stays in the infield. Gabe Roy walks in, 2 away.
First start also for Gabe Roy today, or rather Gavin Roy, rising senior at Washington State, transferred in from Cloud County Community College, a Canadian as well. Not his first summer league experience, and now he makes his first appearance on Cape Cod.
2 outs with a brand new Mariner, Maddox Maloney, taking a ball and a slow breaking ball. Maloney came in today. We did not know that he was on the team until about an hour ago, but this guy is a stud at the University of Oregon.
It's often how that happens here on Cape Cod. I remember last year in Chatham, there was a player, Cole Fellows, an outfielder from Columbia, who was on his way home, finishing up his season, I believe, in the NECBL. He drives all the way back to New Jersey.
It's nailed down the left side. Federico trying to get it in foul territory, and it's out of his reach.
He drives all the way down from Vermont to New Jersey. Just as he gets home in New Jersey, he gets a call from then manager Eric Beatty of Chatham saying, hey, we got a spot for you now. You can come up here and play for the Chatham Anglers on Cape Cod. And so Fellows turned right around and completed what was around 11 hours of driving in one day.
Wow.
And he stayed for the final stretch of the season.
Maloney swings on the next pitch as well. That one's also just foul.
Nothing like that anywhere else. You can't say no to Cape Cod, so that's exactly what Maddox Maloney did here.
It's exciting, too, because you get so many new faces, new names, new talent, new skills, new skill sets. So all these players, it feels like they get to grow their own games because they see different caliber players. They see different types of players every single day. Maloney makes contact with his 3rd straight pitch. That one also fouled off.
And again, that's transcendent for a player going back to their school, beginning their fall ball seasons, of course, getting to the spring. That's where actual baseball counts. The coaches have got to love the fact that they're seeing so many different looks. A lot of the players that they'll maybe see in their college futures, playing them right here on Cape Cod.
Maloney, ground ball. Velasquez makes the play. 3 up, 3 down for Trey Beard in the top of the 2nd inning. And still a 2-0 lead for Hyannis.
You can make any bat feel lighter by adding a velo puck knob. Instead of having to go get a whole entirely new bat, you can simply add the puck to it. Players can use this with any bat. It's basically going to shift the weight of the bat a little bit more towards the hands. Players are able to hit the ball a lot harder just by simply adding the puck on.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
For each Harbor Hawks home run hit this season here at McKeon Park, $50 is donated to the Family Pantry of Cape Cod by Monomoy Real Estate and Construction and Pretty Picky Properties Select Vacation Rentals. Pretty Picky and Monomoy, the team with everything you need to hit a real estate home run on Cape Cod.
Say that 5 times really fast. Pretty Picky, I forgot it. Pretty Picky Properties, wow.
Pretty Picky Properties.
Tongue twister.
And yet, rolls right off the tongue. Don't know how that happens.
The dichotomy of ad reading.
Bottom of the second inning. It's going to be Ryan McKay, Gavin Roy, and Brody Briggs, bottom 3 for the Hyannis order. Gavin Roy and Brody Briggs both did not play in last night's game, so it is their season openers. Got to imagine that there's some excitement.
And a decision from Mitch Carricker that I think is reflective of his coaching style. His philosophy is that he wants to get guys reps as often as possible. Of course, that's a hallmark of most coaching styles, but I think Coach Carricker, especially when you have someone like Von Lackey on your roster who played very well last night, maybe you want to get him in again and continue that continuity as the battery for Hyannis pitching. Slot Briggs right in. Go wag when or zig when they zag, right? And that's exactly what Coach Carricker does to keep all opponents on their toes.
McKay nails one to center field, and that's another single. 3 singles, 4 hits for Hyannis.
How about the first hit of the summer for McKay? 0 for 4 with a walk last night. Had a couple at-bats that were just not the results he wanted, but he did battle. And you see him jumping ahead on an early count and just depositing it in the center field. A good start for the Harbor Hawks here in the second.
It's a good thing you said that, Matt. I was going to say exactly the same thing. Good thing you went first, because McKay put together some very quality at-bats last night. Really showed himself as the gel of this upper part of the lineup. Of course, he slides to the 7 spot now, trying to ignite some fire in the bottom half of the order. Again, a decision from Coach Carricker reflective of his early experience here on Cape Cod.
And it looks like we've got some equipment malfunctions for the home plate umpire. That's Jeff Merzell over at first base. It's Mike Rabideau, and then Mike Hinujosa is over at third. Hinujosa coming over to check on his home plate umpire, Merzell. And to touch on McKay as well, he finished his collegiate season on a 7-game hit streak. So he finished hot, was coming into the Cape with a lot of excitement, I'm sure a lot of confidence, and still wasn't able to get a hit. So as disappointing as I'm sure that was, it was probably also very motivating for him, saying, I want to get right back on my horse and get a hit for my team.
Right, and the constant theme we keep coming back to is it's hard to rekindle that fire you played with at the end of the season when you take nearly a month off. Michigan State didn't make the NCAA tournament. They didn't go quite as far as they might have liked in the Big Ten, so it's been a bit off for Ryan McKay.
Roy flies one on the first pitch that he sees Brinney charging in, but it's Maloney who makes the play. One away in the bottom of the second. So that'll bring up Brody Briggs. 6'1", 205-pound rising redshirt sophomore from Arizona State University. Finished very strong in his final game against UCLA. Had a double, 2 RBIs, did strike out once, but he finished on a 3-game hit streak, 4-game on-base streak. And takes a ball away. Based on his stats, it looks like he calls a really good game behind the plate. He knows what a pitcher likes. He knows how to get him going at the right time, but maybe his bat isn't quite as advanced as some of the other catchers in college baseball, so he hasn't gotten as many starts.
And that's got a 2-pronged effect for Mitch Carricker putting him into the lineup tonight. One, you've got what could be, a defending catcher that's on the same caliber as Von Lackey. Obviously, Lackey up for the semifinalist for the Buster Posey Award, so his success is well established. But Briggs may be better as a battery mate than he is at the plate. And then, of course, the other side of that, Graham, is to try and get Briggs at bats. So, should Lackey's status be in question, Briggs' status as well. Whichever one stays longer for the summer, that's going to be your guy at the plate. You want a power-hitting catcher to try and leave McKeon Park from right field. An onerous task, to say the least.
Chopper down the right field line. Jaffe gets it. Out number 1 at second. Out number 2 at first. 3-6-1 double play to end the second inning. And just like that, Dempsey gets out of a leadoff single from Ryan McKay. Still 2-0 Hyannis on Cape League TV.
Get ready for big results with our small machines. With more power, performance, comfort, and savings. They're ready for every job. And we're ready with plenty of inventory, the best support in the business, same-day parts availability, and locations across the Northeast. So you can always be ready to work. Milton Cat, always ready.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group, protecting the possible.
Hyannis and Harwich both getting a win in Game 1 of the Cape Cod season. 2 wins only in the West. It was a tough day for the West Division. The East, they started out very, very strong. It's going to be a very fun season. So much turnover. You never know who's going to have who and which team is going to have the momentum as the season draws on. Trey Beard on for his 3rd inning of work. Max, I want to talk to you. What have you seen from him thus far that has made it such a strong start? 3 strikeouts already, only 1 hit allowed.
I mean, it all comes down to using every single pitch to his advantage. What I mean is if he's missing location, he's playing off that, using that as a tunnel. And that's what a good pitcher does, a mature pitcher. They don't just get frustrated with themselves. Like when we saw him miss that pitch on 0-2, he came back with a similar spot on the outer half of the plate, but that one stuck to right on the outside corner, and what do you know? He got the out on it. So if he's going to continue to go strong in this game, he's going to have to continue to execute and use every single pitch to his advantage.
I mentioned this quote yesterday, but it's because it's really stuck with me. I think it's a really cool quote that I heard once, as that's a strike for Davis Baker. Paul Skeen said that there is no such thing as a wasted pitch. You can use every single pitch that you throw, and Trey Beard is a great example of that so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And baseball is just such a tough mental game on a pitch-to-pitch basis. It's always tough to remember that the next best pitch is the next pitch is the most important pitch in baseball. The next play is the most important play in baseball. So if you don't execute what you wanted to do right there, you have an opportunity to use it to your advantage in the next play.
That one hits the pole right to our left. A jarring sound as it was coming right at us. You got to have the memory of a goldfish when you play baseball. Right. As we are all Ted Lasso fans here in this booth, I know. But I think it's so true. You've got to have a good short-term memory. And it seems like some of the best athletes in the world are the ones that have that kind of memory. It's a 2-2 count.
I'll make a similar connection to golf, where it is a cruel game at its core. It's physically very hard, round object on round object. It's grueling, to say the least. 162 games, 40 games here on Cape Cod.
It's going to be a long strikeout for Davis Baker.
It's a tall order for every single person that tries to play baseball, and for the guys that have success like Trey Beard has, and a lot of people across the Cape League and summer leagues, of course, it's doubly impressive to see what they do given the circumstances. And like you said, Graham, that mindset is super prevalent across baseball and athletics.
Brings up Nico Brini to the plate for the first time. Takes a high fastball for strike 1. Brini, 5'9", 190-pound rising senior from Wofford College. Went 0 for 4 in yesterday's game against Bourne. As he makes contact, sends it to right field. Williamson in position and makes the catch. Two-way again. Quick 2 outs for Trey Beard, as he has done in both of his last 2 innings. Went fly out, strikeout, pop out, and then strikeout, fly out. So safe to say he's working very confidently, mixing the strikeouts with the contact, getting it all done.
Just 1 above the minimum, too. In that first inning, a single for Eric Becker, the lone blemish on his record so far.
Back to the top of the order, Broussard takes a strike. And if you're the Mariners, it seemed like you were doing a really good job in that first inning of increasing Trey Beard's pitch count beyond what it could have been. There's that single for Eric Becker, and then a lot of at-bats just drew on for longer than they potentially could have, as this is a quick 0-2 count for Trey Broussard. But all of a sudden, Trey Beard just locks right in and flips that switch, and you can't shut him down. 0-2, 2 out. That one bounces in.
And that is exactly what makes Trey Beard great. It's indicative in his success at FAU. It's what he's bringing to Florida State, why he has been tabbed across all outlets when he announced his transfer 2 days ago as one of the pickups of the portal window for the Seminoles. And the other facet of that is for Mitch Carricker, and what could be the lone start for Beard is that's another reason to stretch him as far as he possibly can go. Exert all the force you can get from the southpaw and secure a win here tonight against Harwich.
Broussard has seen 2 straight balls. Fouls that one right back into the mask of Brody Briggs. He's just going to shake it off and lock back in.
Look at him double up on that pitch. Of course, that one in the strike zone, but he goes with that similar off-speed pitch, but that one staying as a hittable pitch. And look at that. You get the weak contact right there. And now he's in the driver's seat here to really make him off and guess.
That one nailed, but well foul.
I just want to shout out Brody Briggs as well. We mentioned his defense, and that's a large part of the reason why he is behind the dish tonight for Mitch Carricker and Trey Beard. He's made a couple of stops. Of course, they haven't mattered with no one along the base pass here on some balls from Beard that have skipped to him. Took one off the mask. Seems a hard hat and helmet guy.
Back-to-back foul balls. Broussard extending this at bat. More pitches he sees, the more comfortable he gets. He had the most hits at Houston this last season with 62. Turned that into 31 stolen bases, which was second in the Big 12. 2-2 again, and he gets him out. Fifth strikeout of the game for Trey Beard, and to bookend the 3rd inning. Bottom of the 3rd coming up. And we're going to go down to sideline for Ava Fernandez.
Ethan.
Made big news yesterday when the 6'2" left-hander decided to transfer from Florida Atlantic to Florida State after entering the transfer portal just 10 days earlier with a do not contact tag. He was highly sought after transfer. Beard comes off of a stellar sophomore season at Florida Atlantic where he was named AAC first team pitcher and holding opposing batters to just a 199 average while pitching to a 3.14 ERA. In making his decisions to transfer, Beard cited the fact that FAU pitching coach Jordan Tabachman was leaving and that he had family members that had previously graduated from FSU. However, what was most important for Beard was that he immediately connected with FSU pitching coach Micah Posey and believes he can take the next step in his development by working closely with Posey to learn to use his body better while on the mound. Now back to the Harbor Hawk broadcast team, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Go Hawks!
All right, thank you so much, Ethan. It's been a phenomenal start, and what could be the only start for Trey Beard. He's given his bats a lot of opportunities, and they've taken advantage of them so far. Already 4 hits on the day for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, including a double from Miles Bailey. We'll get a second chance at the plate if Schaffner, Williamson, or Velasquez is able to get themselves on base. It's a strike right away for Schaffner. Schaffner ended his collegiate season on a 3-game hitless streak. Only went hitless in 6 other games over the course of the season. As he nails one fading away from center field. Broussard can't get there. He almost turns it into 2, is going to pump the brakes and go back to first. But a really nice swing there from Schaffner, and pretty identical to the first one he had back in the 1st inning.
It's almost a direct product of the at-bat he flew out to center field on when he first saw Dempsey. Instead of missing it, he almost missed it in the same spot, missing with air quotes, of course. He just got under it a little bit to an advantageous location in the left center field alley with Broussard and Brinney converging on it. It drops fortuitously in his favor.
Williamson swings through his first pitch. Schaffner, as good of a leadoff hitter as you can have, led NDSU in stolen bases with 18. He had 18 at Madison in his summer season 2024. and 16 with NDSU back in 2024 in his freshman season. Both of those numbers for North Dakota State University were the best of the year.
I want to go do the way that Dempsey's really using this outer part of the plate. He's starting a lot of pitches like what he does right there. It starts on the outside part, and then he goes in or goes below the zone. Unfortunately for him, he missed the spot with Schaffner. But on that first pitch of the at-bat to Williamson, it was so impressive because the home plate umpire not giving that outer part of the plate well. So you think, hey, I'm not going to swing, it's too far out, and then it ends up right in the zone. There it is again, but that one too far out.
It's a 3-1 count for Williamson.
Max, how as a hitter do you respond to that when a pitcher starts doing that?
I mean, obviously when they got the scouting reports, pitchers are going to pitch to you differently, but the general rule of thumb is...
That one nailed down the right field side. Feinberg back, no shot. The first home run of the 2025 season for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks belongs to Andrew Williamson.
I respond like that if I'm a hitter.
Williamson, 13 home runs in 2025 with UCF. It led the team, and he already leads for Hyannis with one in the second game of the season.
We said all week coming into the season that it is so hard to leave this ballpark from right field that any way you spin it because of the wind that comes off of the water in the Hyannis Harbor. Williamson's got the power to do it. And we just saw it on display there. That ball was absolutely mashed. I'm excited to see the numbers on that one. There's a flight for the UCF night.
That was absolutely crushed. We've seen a couple in batting practice that have been hit hard, but that was really hard. That was a different level than we've seen from Andrew Williamson. He had one in yesterday's game where it looked like it could have gone, but it just wasn't quite hot enough. It was a very cold night, and the breeze was blowing in. That catches the inside corner to Ray Velasquez. He's got a 1-2 count.
Now, what I thought was going to be a Cape League tradition from Williamson, leaving the dugout to go celebrate with the bullpen, it looks like it's just a bathroom visit.
All the way in the outfield. Velasquez stays alive.
A couple teams last summer that were raucous in their celebrations to the extent that a couple of opposing managers were dissatisfied with the way that teams were behaving. That's summer baseball for you.
Still no outs in the inning. That one lifted towards left field. 3 in the area, and the catch is made by Maddox Maloney, the new Mariner on the team. So an important first out for Evan Dempsey, who's now just trying to get out of the inning. 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the third. And Hyannis, after a very slow offensive night, their bats have just caught fire early in game 2 at home.
I would call it a delayed offensive night because the runs did come, they just didn't come until the 8th inning. And again, we keep talking about this theme of shaking off the rust. That's exactly what Hyannis did last night. Here they waste no time getting to the scoreboard.
Bailey has to scoot out of the way a little bit.
Something we mentioned last night also is how lethal this top 5 for Hyannis can be. Williamson just hit the first home run of the season. The top 5 from last night combined for 100 in their careers entering the game. And so now you get one in this season, and you see that power's on display, but that top 5 really played small ball because they had to. That's what Wareham gave them. So many free passes in the form of walks, of errors, of hit by pitches, and it resulted in a win regardless.
2-0 pitch to Bailey. He nails one as well, but that one's pulled foul. There have been about 3 hits already tonight that have just sounded different off the bat. Absolutely cracked.
2 of them from Bailey. 1 from Williamson, of course, on the dinger, but Bailey, of course, built like a linebacker at 6'4", 257. He looks the part, folks.
2-1. That one's right down Broadway. Hyannis was one of the best batting teams in 2024 at a 272 average, which was second best. This season, after 1 game, they had a 200 team average, which was 5th after 1 game. And that's a sorted strikeout. 2 away now for Evan Dempsey, who's responded very well after that home run.
That's a good point, Graham. I was just going to point that out. Obviously, with that sub-2 ERA this past spring, not a lot of failure he had to deal with on the mound. That is not the case today. 4 runs through the first 2+ innings, of course, and counting. But he comes back after the back-to-back hits, of course, the big one being the home run with the pop-out, the strikeout. And this is still the heart of the order, so really impressive stuff. And that shows you why Dempsey was so dominant this past spring.
Brings up Hayden Federico. He fouls off the first pitch. Max, we talked a little bit yesterday about your submarine pitching days back when you played baseball. I want to ask about the times where maybe you gave up a hit and had to lock back in. What's it like when you give up a big home run, a big hit, and you still got a lot of inning left?
Yeah, all eyes are on you, and of course, it's your mistakes that you're beating yourself up over, but what you have to do is just shove it away and really focus on the next play. I mean, we already talked about it. I know I sound like a broken record, but as a former player, I remember at 8U baseball, my head coach would always say the most important play in baseball is the next play, the next batter, the next pitch, and look what he's doing right now. He's obviously making every effort he can to keep this team, keep the Mariners in the game, and of course, a lot of game left, but what he's doing is he's responding.
Trying to get the third out of the inning, a 2-1 count. Federico just ahead in his second plate appearance. Flew out to center his first time around in the first inning. And he's got 3 balls.
You're doing all this thinking in baseball. I would have been lucky just to even get close to the pitch when I was swinging. I was, pale in comparison to your athletic ability and one of many of these baseball players across the Cape.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why these guys are here.
Smash to center. Broussard gets there in time and holds on. A sliding play from the center fielder to end the inning. Max, we'll come back to your point in just a moment. You're watching on Cape League TV.
This week we've been working a lot with doing play-by-plays, just doing behind-the-scenes stuff with sports broadcasting, which I never really realized how much went into it, but it's been really cool.
They've grown a lot. I've never really done like a program like this before, so seeing all the behind-the-scenes has really grown.
I've learned how to really just gain confidence in my play-by-play speaking, and I've learned more terms here when it comes to directing and producing, and I've just had a great time with John Rook.
Doing the play-by-play stuff and all that, being with a guy like John Rook, understanding what the major kind of entails doing this camp, just really a preview for what you do here at Dean or any other college doing broadcasting, so I'm definitely more prepared to make this a job of mine.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
Well, it's hard not to talk Cape League without talking College Baseball World Series, and we've got some trivia from the World Series. Who is the last Harbor Hawk to win Most Outstanding Player of the College World Series? Some good options there for. Feel free to tweet at us if you'd like, if you know the answer. We will be revealing the correct letter after the first at-bat of the inning. And looking at that College World Series, Arizona already eliminated from the World Series. How about Coastal Carolina on a Cinderella run?
And an incoming Harbor Hawk, Dominic Carbone, a big factor in that as well.
Yeah.
The Dom father from his time here in Hyannis last year.
That's awesome.
They play Oregon State tonight at 7 o'clock.
Something about college baseball. That one just fouled off the end of the bat of Harrison Feinberg to lead off the 4th inning. Trey Beard still up there, extending what has been a phenomenal start.
Yeah, 5 strikeouts, and each one of them have been indicative of his command on the mound. It's just utmost confidence from him.
And there's a nice strike. 2 quick ones to Harrison Feinberg. Max, before we went to the break, you were saying a good point. I want to get right back to that.
Yeah, I was going to say is all these guys, of course, playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League, they have talent, but what they really need.
There's a strikeout to start the inning.
They really need is to have a sound mental mindset. Of course, baseball is a game of failure. To make the Hall of Fame, you fail 7 times out of 10. There's no other game in the world like that. And if I know he just struck out in Harrison Feinberg, but he's a guy who just won CAA Co-Player of the Year. How about the year before that? At .220 average, just 3 home runs, OPS sub 700. Then he comes back this year, 18 home runs, OPS over 1,100. Of course, no success in this game. That shows these guys to be here at this level are mentally sound, and it's really tough to do.
First ball of the at-bat to Eric Becker. I mean, the mental game arguably more important sometimes than the physical. I mean,
Ozzie Smith said it's 90% mental, 10% physical, and I actually agree with him.
I was going to bring up Ben Crenshaw going back to golf.
1-1 hit towards right center, and it gets down between the two outfielders.
The most important club in your bag is the 6 inches between your ears.
Yep. That's one of my favorite quotes. As we get to our trivia answer, who's the last Harbor Hawk to win Most Outstanding Player? Jackie Bradley Jr. If you thought answer C, then you are correct. You are 1 for 1 in our trivia series, which, speaking of 1 for 1 in a series, make sure you stick around for Beat D-Bot coming up. They're our favorite series here on the Harbor Hawks Network. First pitch chopped to short. Double play opportunity. There's one at second and another at first. Trey Beard faces the minimum for 3 straight innings and continues to keep a goose egg up on the scoreboard for his Hawks. Hyannis lead 4-0 on Cape League TV.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And Cam Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. Cam Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.
Bottom of the 4th inning. And McKeon Park in great shape for its first game of the season. And a good crowd has shown out on Father's Day. See a lot of dads in the stands over to the left.
Looks like we got a pie eating contest going on down there. A plethora of activities on display here in Hyannis.
And who is that? Number 24.
Let's go take a look at our roster sheet.
Eric
here.
Hofberg.
Eric Hofberg got in last night from the mound at Spillane Field to a folding table just outside the Harbor Hawk dugout. Face full of pie for number 24.
How about that? He had a great appearance yesterday, pitched for an inning, didn't allow a hit, a run, or a walk. He struck out 2. I think he deserves some pie.
Yeah, he deserves a little dessert. maybe a napkin, too.
Yeah. That is awesome. Hyannis, I think, had the 3rd best attendance in 2024. Their games draw a good crowd right next to downtown Hyannis. It's easy to come down and walk. All these games are free to attend. You don't even have to pay for a ticket. It's a great way to spend a nice summer day on the Cape.
Very close to Main Street through the heart of Hyannis, just a mere feet away here of Pope John Paul II High School. Just got out of session or got to be leaving soon. These kids got to get to their summer. Come here and watch Cape baseball.
It's a nice breaking ball. First pitch to Charlie Bates.
Can't think of a better way to finish up school. You know, you're sitting through all your classes, then go to a Cape Cod Baseball League game right on campus.
I bet some of them could see it from their window.
How do you stay focused? I mean, granted, the games do start at 6 o'clock. I would hope no teachers are holding you back then. I mean, that would be very disappointing, to say the least.
The bell doesn't dismiss you, I do, okay? 1-1. That one bends in for a strike. It is a great, very cool location at McKeon Park. Right next to this school, you can literally walk down, and you're right here. Some of the best college ball in the summer. 1-2. Outside.
I'd be very curious to see how Dempsey responds after the bomb from Williams in the last inning. Max, you alluded to it a bit as a pitcher, having that goldfish mentality. So he has to incorporate it here.
That one bounces in. It's going to be full. Bates, he missed 24 games this season due to a hamstring injury. Came back. There were 7 games left in the 2025 season for him at Stanford. He got a hit in every single one. Continued that last night, so he's working an 8-game hit streak since returning from injury. And he nails that one, but it's right at Inouye. Second baseman makes the play for the first out of the inning.
That's a good start for Dempsey. Bates fights him a bit, and he gets pitches where he wants it mostly, and that can be a pitcher's misfortune where you have a pitch go where you want it to go, and the hitter makes a good play. That's baseball. and see if Dempsey can navigate his way through the heart of the Harbor Hawk order here.
He's now 4 in a row retired after the home run, and you got to tip your cap to the way he's responded.
He's got Ryan McKay back up, who singled in his first plate appearance. That one just catches the outside of the zone. I was going to say something similar about Dempsey. The way he's responded, he had such a good season at Florida Gulf Coast. Of his 10 starts, he allowed a single earned run in 5 of them. That one nailed to right center field. Feinberg goes back to the track in the wall, and it's right there. A little bit more air under that one, and McKay might have had his first home run of the season. He had one identical to that yesterday.
Yeah.
And it just missed. It was cold. It's also a little bit chilly here tonight.
We can feel it right now. The wind is blowing straight in. That's why it's so difficult hitting home runs out to right field as a left-handed hitter.
It's all coming from the Hyannis Harbor, just a mere couple hundred feet from the right field foul pole here at McKeon Park. The wind is so fervent off that right side that it's hard to leave this ballpark as a lefty.
And yet we saw it. Back in the 3rd inning, Andrew Williamson hit a 2-run blast. And other than that, it was just a lot of singles and a double from Miles Bailey to bring home 2 in the bottom of the 1st. That's how Hyannis has their 4-0 lead. That and, of course, some phenomenal pitching from Trey Beard. That's a nice breaking ball that bends in for a first strike of the at-bat.
Roy, one of 2 players to round out this Hyannis order that did not play yesterday, so making their Cape League debuts today. And this is always something I'm curious to see. And now entering my 2nd summer on Cape Cod, when players get slotted into the lineup, if the philosophy changes at all at the plate, facing guys that you likely will never face again. Or not likely will never face again, but could never see again in your college career, just in conferences and scheduling. You know, the sheer likelihood of playing that kind of player again. And for someone like Gavin Roy, he may not see a pitcher exactly like Jacob Dempsey for the rest of his career.
Roy's ahead 3-1 and had the green light but fouled it off, so it'll be a full count. I mean, I can't think of a next time where someone from Florida Gulf Coast University will face someone from Washington State.
You went right at it. I was trying to sugarcoat a little bit, but yeah, exactly right. Although in this age of NIL, you never know.
That's very true.
We have some breaking baseball news. Rafael Devers has been traded.
Well, we get the breaking news right as it doesn't end. That is going to go down as an error. Gavin Roy made it a little uncomfortable for Jaffe over at first.
And
Rafael Devers to who?
To the San Francisco Giants. Hold your excitement, Gio, for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, quote, and more.
Okay.
Wow.
What?
That is pretty remarkable.
Red Sox fans grimace. I was about to make a
I'm a Padres fan, so I'm not all too excited
make
about
a crack
that.
you are
not either, Graham, as a Dodgers fan.
Baseball goes on here at McKeon Park. That's a strike for Brody Briggs, hitting in the 9 spot. Well, it's rare that you get breaking news like this in the 4th inning.
Our producer, Daniel Bottolino, is just in shock. I mean, I don't blame him.
We have a full Sox booth back there.
The one. Great pick there from Inouye. And a nice play at second base. Gavin Roy was able to get on first, but Brody Briggs couldn't bring him around. Breaking news in the booth, but no runs to go along with it. We'll be right back.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the Rental Source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
When I started teaching on the Cape 30 years ago, you could buy a house on a teacher's salary. But today, teachers, public safety officers, healthcare and hospitality workers, the people who make the Cape work, are struggling to find homes they can afford. And I really worry about the kids who will follow us. I think it's time we learn to do better.
If housing on Cape Cod matters to you, join us at capehousingmatters.org.
Richie Roman on the mound for the first time in Cape Cod. He's replacing Trey Beard, who's only good for 4 innings. Didn't want to push his limits in his first and potentially only start here on the Cape in 2025, as he will be going to USA Baseball to compete. But Richie Roman, 6'4" rising junior at Houston. He had a 6.31 ERA over 41 and a third pitched, struck out 55, allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 14 of 19 appearances this year. Is good for somewhere between 1 and 3 innings. We'll see how many he can go here tonight.
And what a job by Trey Beard. 4 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He faced the minimum in the final 3 frames. That is what you call dominant pitching, ladies and gentlemen. And the Harbor Hawks, if that was the only treat they had from him, they're definitely going to benefit from him. Love to see him more this summer. But they are put in the driver's seat in this game as we head to the middle innings.
Yeah, Roman, a strikeout pitcher when he's in his rhythm. How about 55 strikeouts in 19 appearances, as you mentioned, Graham? He overpowers hitters with that fastball, resting 95 to 98. That changeup drops up to 10 miles per hour lower. It's a jarring difference for hitters at the plate. Roman can bring the heat and then dial it back. It's a lethal combo for the right-hander.
And these batters getting a different look as well, as Trey Beard a lefty, Roman a righty. So we'll see how long it takes to adjust. Jordan Jaffe going to lead off the inning. He went down swinging on 3 strikes his first plate appearance. Jaffe makes contact, can't get it past the first baseman Bailey, who will do it himself. 1 away. Richie Roman only allowed more walks than strikeouts 3 times this season, just to give you a taste of how good he has been. It was a perfect 6 for 6 on save opportunities as well to begin the season. Started as somewhat of a closer and then worked his way into more of those middle innings, and he went for a little bit longer. Inouye really late on that first pitch from Roman.
I was in the glove when he made a swing at that one, but I mean, obviously was not expecting the fastball, pulled the trigger at the last moment, but that's got to be a confidence booster on the mound when you really induce a swing like that.
That one catches the edge.
Location is at a peak right now for Richie Roman. It feels like any corner of the plate, dish, the zone, wherever you scale it, it's going to be there. Location is on point right now for the right-hander.
2 quick strikes to Inouye. And he swings real late on the third. 7th K of the day for the pitching staff of Hyannis. And the very quick one for Richie Roman.
And there's that drop-off in speed we saw. The off-speed pitch comes in, and the hitter way out in front of it. Inouye fooled from Roman's antics with speed.
Max, how long would you say it usually takes for a batter who originally saw a lefty to get used to a different arm angle in a righty?
I mean, I think it comes down to a couple things. Of course, you have to take into mind the splits of these guys. Some guys are more comfortable hitting, so they're like, oh my gosh, finally, I can face what I'm comfortable with. But if that's not the case, especially if you're a lefty, you've been facing a righty all game, now you got to go lefty-lefty. It's just so difficult to be able to have that matchup in your favor.
That's a great breaking ball that had Maddox Maloney fooled.
I think it's just most jarring to see the same, similar speeds, almost nearly 100 miles an hour. Some of these guys at 100 miles an hour coming from a different side of the plate. It's an otherworldly change for a batter to have to make, and I don't think that's an exaggeration.
Oh, no.
0-2, 2 outs. And that's the end of the 5th. It's a drop third strike, and now this is the end. A long third strike. 3 up, 3 down for Richie Roman's first inning of work in the Hyannis Harbor Hawks uniform, and 5 goose eggs on the scoreboard for the Harbor Hawks in Game 1 at home.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And Cam Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. Cam Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home, with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Hey Harbor Hawks fans, did you know the NAC Cape Cod is the official Light Up the Park sponsor of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks all season long? Thanks to the NAC, the lights at McKeon Park stay bright all summer as the future stars take the field. With 2 convenient locations in Orleans and Hyannis, the NAC is a perfect spot for a burger, taco, sandwich, and a lot more. Visit thenaccapecod.com to learn more or order online. We saw one pitching change. We will not see another as Evan Dempsey is still on the mound throwing. Dempsey going to face the top of the Hyannis lineup in Jake Schaffner, Andrew Williamson, and Ray Velasquez. These 3 have really dealt damage. Schaffner 1 for 2 on the day. He had a single back in the 3rd. Williamson 2 for 2, a single and a home run. Ray Velasquez 1 for 2 with a single back in the 1st. This is what you would expect from these top 3 guys. He shows a bunt, but pulls it back on the first pitch.
And Dempsey, I'm sure, licking his chops to get another look at Williams here at the plate. Sent a ball well over the scoreboard here at McKeon Park in right center field. Dempsey wants his revenge.
Breaking ball misses.
He's got to be.
Go ahead, Max.
I was going to say he's got to be careful with that pitch because I know he's trying to catch the outside corner, but the other end of that spectrum is if he misses over the plate with this part of the order, you're going to be seeing slug, especially as guys like Williamson come up.
That one's just outside. And it's a really interesting story for Dempsey. I kind of want to build off of talking about him. He started his season in 2025 as the closer for his college team, Florida Gulf Coast. Then all of a sudden he went 5 innings in a relief appearance. They had to use him in the middle innings, and he just kept pitching better and better as he stayed out there. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, let's let this guy start. Let's see what he can do. And then he never went back to the relief position. He had a 1.97 ERA. We said that earlier at the top of the show. As this 3-1 just catches the corner. But so impressive how easy it was for him to make that change from reliever, from closer, all the way to starter. It feels like that shouldn't be that easy of a transition.
No, it shouldn't be. And especially, I mean, from my perspective, in the very limited times I pitched throughout my life, I never started games. But I know, just talking to my friends, some of the guys I grew up with.
Fouled off.
Just some of the guys I grew up with, it's a different animal starting because the entire game, the weight of the game is on you. When you're relieving the baseball game, of course, you have high leverage situations, but starting at the game, you really feel it's in your hands. So going with that kind of less pressure to the biggest speed, all the spotlights on you, it's a really difficult task.
3-2 misses. It's a walk. First walk of the ball game for Evan Dempsey. And at that, first walk of the entire ball game. It's been really clean pitching up to this point, something that neither of these teams really saw last night. There were a lot of walks for both teams, and it looks like it's going to lead to a pitching change.
Yeah, we got a righty warming up in the bullpen for Steve Englert and Harwich. Of course, the defending Cape Cod Baseball League champions. Sporting some new jerseys tonight, trying to rekindle that magic that brought them Cape League glory last August.
We will get you that pitcher as soon as we see their number. We talked about this yesterday. It's so hard to see the numbers of the pitchers as they walk up. But a lot of good options relief-wise for Harwich. As it looks like got number 31 on the mound. And no clue who number 31 is. So we're going to have to figure that out. According to our roster, there is no number 31. So E.J. Nevels, the only player on the roster that had a TBD for his number coming into the game. That would make sense.
That's the Cape League for you,
that
folks.
That is the Nevels, redshirt sophomore. Had a great season in 2025. 6 appearances, 30 innings pitched, 2.40 ERA. And 25 strikeouts. Started his collegiate career at Amherst. And he's going to face arguably the hardest stretch of this lineup that you can face, and Andrew Williamson, Ray Velasquez, and then Miles Bailey.
Starting with the most difficult out in the Harbor Hawk order tonight in Andrew Williams. A single and a home run in his only 2 plate appearances. This is a lefty with the power to leave the ballpark from anywhere, even to the deep left center alleyway. We saw, or even on the right side, we saw Ryan McKay put a ball there. And Neville at 6'4", 200 pounds, an imposing figure atop the mound, much like we saw last night with Carson Jassa. Of course, Jassa 6'7", 245. That's an entirely different beast. Max, what do you have thoughts on that? What is it like facing a pitcher that could easily be playing power forward in the NBA?
Well, I think one of the toughest things, obviously I'm a shorter guy as well, but I remember in high school especially, those really big guys, it is so difficult because it looks like the ball is levitating to you. Their arm, their wingspan is so long that they're releasing the pitch, maybe 55, 54 with the stride to take into account feet away from you. And of course, the closer you are to the plate, the harder it is as a hitter. So that's why you like to see, or as a coach, you'd like to see a lot more taller pitchers. That's why you're always seeing that, because they're so lengthy. The ball is just being released closer to you. It's going to sneak up on you.
Dempsey's line is not done as he allowed that walk, so if Schaffner comes around, that would go on his line. But E.J. Neville's going to try his best to keep his teammates' sheet a little bit cleaner. Tall right-hander gets set to face Williamson. He shows bunt, lays a good one down, but it just spins foul.
Just barely. In fact, I believe it struck the third base line and took a unfortunate ricochet off a rock in the dirt about 10 paces from home plate. A beautifully placed bunt by Williams with the third baseman Becker with his toes on the infield grass, yet not far enough to make that play in time. Williamson was easily in.
Williamson has the best power that I've seen on this ball club so far. The runner goes, and he's going to get there safely without even sliding. The pitch was a little bit away, and Conti couldn't get it cleanly to pop up and make that throw. First stolen base of the ball game for either side.
That's a point we didn't even bring up yet, that Hyannis in the first 5 innings of play stole 4 bases, ended up not stealing any more successfully on the night in one more attempt, but aggression along the base paths from Mitch Carricker.
1-1, runner goes again, throw down at third. Not! Looks like he got him on the arm. It was bang, bang.
Right on the wrist. Perfectly placed throw from Conti. Becker gets across in time. His foot on the bag to the left side. A throw that led him right at his chest, had to bring it across his body. And Schaffner with a good slide, just not quick enough.
Interesting to see him try with the barn door open. No right-handed hitter.
Williamson dribbles one down the right field side. A tough play for Jaffe, but he makes it.
And talk about aggression along the base pass. Not just the steal at second, call it fielder's indifference. We'll see what the official score is. But to have the next attempt mere seconds after the first, it's indicative of the philosophy that Coach Carricker wants to infuse into his 2025 Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, and 1 out is kind of the time you want to do it. Of course, you never want to make the last out at third. That's a saying, and that should be a saying for a reason. You're just going to kill a rally. But what I was saying about the barn door is usually runners will try to steal when there's a right-handed hitter in the box because that shields them a little bit. The catcher has to take maybe half an extra step, and that, whatever, those milliseconds, it makes a big difference. But Williamson, the left-handed hitter, it's completely open, and it allows the catcher, Conti, to run free.
Big cut from Ray Velasquez, who's 1 for 2 in the ball game, had a single back in the first inning and then popped out in the third. Checks his swing. They say he went. He's going to try to leg it out to first. Jaffe scoops a tough one out of the dirt. Well, E.J. Neville's was able to close out the 5th inning despite that leadoff walk from Jake Schaffner. And he faces the minimum. Still 4-0 Hyannis on Cape League TV.
This will be your college. This will be your home. This is where you will join a community that supports you. cares about you, pushes you, cheers you on, challenges you, inspires you, helps you reach your dreams. Open your eyes to opportunity and your mind to possibility. Your future begins here.
Make a difference.
Leave your mark.
Break the mold.
Be a leader.
Achieve unimagined heights.
Believe in yourself.
Make lifelong friends.
This is your time.
Your place.
Your home. Your Dean.
It all starts here at Dean College.
Hyannis leading 4-0 over Harwich. And both a little bit different tales so far. Hyannis with a team average around that 300 number. Harwich struggling to crest 2. Both of these teams with a win. And honestly, the stats kind of reflecting the 2024 season for both of these teams. Hyannis, the best in the West. They had been for a long time. Some of the best offensive stats, some of the best defensive stats. Then you go to Harwich, and they were kind of middle of the pack. They didn't have the best average. They didn't have the best ERA. But somehow, some way, they found that hot streak come postseason time, something that is very prevalent in sports right now. Speaking maybe more towards the NBA, the Indiana Pacers making a little bit of a Cinderella run.
I knew you'd sneak it
just
in.
like
Big night for you
Harwich
tomorrow.
did, that's right. However, that's all you need. You just need to hit your streak at the right time. You just need it to click once, and then the rest is history. Davis Baker takes a ball outside.
Especially in baseball, where we see teams in MLB and beyond that get hot at the right time in the pitching room, at the plate. You're seeing different looks. You feel better at the plate as the season goes on. 162 games is a long time. 40 games is a long time.
We saw that with Harwich last year. They finished under 500, and what do you know? They won the Cape Cod Baseball World Championship.
It can happen, and if you get into the postseason, anything can happen. Anything will happen, and that's Cape Cod.
They say once you're in, you're in.
Right, and baseball for you.
Doesn't matter. It's a new season. It's game 1 of the year.
Right.
2 straight balls to Baker, and there's a strike that he looked like he was taking the entire way. Baker, only his second plate appearance of the ball game. Hyannis, they're on their 3rd turn through their lineup. Just speaks to how well the pitching staff for the Harbor Hawks have done thus far. Makes contact, but sends it foul. Baker, rising senior at the University of Pennsylvania. 3rd most hits at UPenn in 2025. 4th best average, stole the 2nd most bases, actually knocked in the most runners of anyone on the Ivy League team with 39. 2-2 in the dirt. He was a 2nd team All-Ivy, only went hitless over multiple games in a row once last season. It was the 3rd and 4th games that UPenn played at Florida State and at Troy, 2 very competitive programs. After that, he never went hitless multiple games in a row. Full count. Checks his swing. It's a leadoff walk.
This is a turn in the right direction for Steve Englert's group. That's maybe the most mature at-bat we've seen from Harwich in a while. Of course, nothing has been going on the scoreboard, but that's also indicative of those at-bats. Hyannis pitching have had its way with the strike zone, and as did Richie Roman through the early part of that at-bat. But credit Baker for staying vigilant.
Richie Roman, really quick first inning of work back in the top of the 5th. Got his first guy to ground out and then struck out 2 back-to-back as he throws a ball there. But a leadoff walk, Max, how important is this next at-bat? What does he need to do to lock back in, get back to that way of a 3-up, 3-down inning?
I mean, it's kind of been our theme to today. The next batter, the next pitch. It's going to be executing. You're probably going to see something low in the zone for that ground ball double play. You know, anything low, maybe a low sinker, low changeup. Just try to get the hands rolled over. Weak contact in the infield could induce some 4-6-3 action.
Got a foul ball there, so maybe as weak as contact can get. You guys will learn that this season I am a flincher. So if a ball comes right back at us, I'm going to probably flinch every single time.
That one was right on your hand if the net is not
I'm
here.
telling you, I had it. 1-1. Check swing and outside.
The interesting add to that walk from Baker is that it breaks his streak of 4 consecutive innings facing the minimum for Hyannis pitching. Of course, a lot of that launched by Trey Beard, but Roman's done a nice job thus far of maintaining it, even with the early damage. Get out of the inning here, nobody out, and double play in effect.
Pretty much identical pitch to his last. And Nico Brini is well ahead in his second at-bat. He popped out his first time around. He had a great start to his season with Wofford. He was hitting .410 in late March, but then his average sunk below 300 in April. Takes a strike on the outside corner. He didn't like it. So he's going to have to lock back into a full count pitch.
That's frustrating as a hitter because that call has not been there all game long. That outside corner has been very strict, and he extended right there. And as a hitter, you know, you're 3-1 count, and all of a sudden, 3-2.
Payoff is knocked to right center field. Williamson charging in, but the play is made by Gavin Roy, the second baseman. One away for Hyannis on top of the 6th.
Roman gets some help from the umpire there, up to the discretion of Jeffrey Menzel, but that's a beautiful example of what Hyannis pitching have done so well all year when they've worked themselves down in counts. 3-1, Roman's faced 3-1 now, 2 at-bats in a row. And he's able to navigate his way out of it by going back to what's worked so far. He's gone away from the fastball early in the inning.
Brewster takes a ball outside, breaking ball that time. That was something that Hyannis as well did well last year with. 3rd best team ERA, we've talked about that. 4th best whip, which walks and hits in an inning, which that number came in at 1.42. That is
sharp.
Very, very low. Also shocking to think that there were 3 numbers better than that in the season. Chopped up the middle, a chance for a double play. And they get it yet again. Second double play of the evening for Hyannis. And for a second straight inning, Richie Roman faces the minimum at McKeon Park. And we've got another chance to go down to a 3rd member of our crew, Ava Fernandez. Appears we're having some technical difficulties. We'll hear from Ava a little bit later. Hopefully we can get that piece from her. We go into the bottom of the 6th inning. The pitching has been really, really strong for Hyannis, but the batting has matched it every single step of the way. They're going to try to get back at E.J. Nevels, who had a really good start in his first appearance in the Cape League. Got Andrew Williamson to ground out, something that's very hard to do. And then backed it up, striking out Ray Velasquez, but arguably one of his toughest tests upcoming. Miles Bailey, the left-hander, was arguably going to be winning in this righty-lefty matchup.
Only 3 trips to the base paths for Harwich on the hitting side. Hyannis, however, with frequent visitors to first, second, and third base tonight.
This is kind of what the Mariners game looked like yesterday. Just sprinkle in a couple more walks. They got off to a huge start. They scored 6 in the bottom of the first inning, but 3 of those runs were walked in. Half of those runs were walked in. Bourne, who they were hosting, then slowly started to claw their way back. They cut it to a 3-run deficit heading into the 7th. The Mariners then were able to get a hit in the bottom of that inning, and really, Bourne couldn't come back much past that. First pitch to Bailey inside, but you take away those walks from that game, and it largely is probably what this game would have looked like.
Almost eerily similar to the extent that for Hyannis, it hasn't come. The only difference is that it's come by way of the home run for them. You know, Harwich played mostly small ball despite having a power hitting lineup, in a way similar to the way Hyannis won last night, where those top 5 combined for 100 career home runs and didn't leave the ballpark. Of course, weather a factor in that, but it shows that these baseball players have an ability to play small ball that's really advantageous for nights like this.
1-1 pitch to Bailey. Nails a second straight ball foul. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Had a double back in the first inning and then struck out in the third. He's now got back-to-back hits in back-to-back games to lead off his 2025 summer. Came into this summer season with a lot of heat. Got hits in 9 of his last 10 with 5 multi-hit performances. And that time he goes down looking. A nasty breaking ball, and E.J. Nevels had his feet in concrete. Strikeout number 4 on the day for Harwich, number 2 for E.J. Nevels, and that is a very big one.
How about getting the 2 toughest outs in the order within 3 batters of each other? You get Williamson to ground out to second. You get Bailey looking. That is a rarity.
Yeah. E.J. Nevels got some good stuff up there on the mound. Faces Hayden Federico and delivers him a strike. Hayden Federico was very helpful to us broadcasters last night. There were a couple times where we lost count of where the count was. We just kind of lost track of it. And he would turn to us and go, it's 2-1. Or it's 1-2. Yeah.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Hayden.
Nails the 0-1, and that's going to be a base hit. First of the day for Hayden Federico. He's trying to turn it into 2. The throw away from the plate. Hayden Federico has his first hit of the 2025 Cape League season. And he turns it into extra bases, gets himself in scoring position.
Going to be a score maybe incoming on the play in right field from Harrison Feinberg that enabled Hayden Federico to stretch that play to 2.
Right.
So it won't come down to the relay by second. Booted the ball in right field as he was trying to pick it up. Would have halted Federico at first. Instead, extra bases for the Ole Miss Rebel.
He's in scoring position with only 1 out. First pitch lined up the middle, a diving grab by Maloney, and that ends the inning as Federico was well off the bag. What a play from Maddox Maloney, the newcomer from the University of Oregon. Charlie Bates goes back empty-handed. Strikeout on Miles Bailey. Federico gets a nice hit, but Hyannis can't do much with it. We'll be right back for the top of the 7th inning on Cape.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we know there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. Now that's how we all win. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
This week we've been working a lot with doing play-by-plays, just doing behind-the-scenes stuff with sports broadcasting, which I never really realized how much went into it, but it's been really cool.
They've grown a lot. I've never really done like a program like this before, so like seeing all the behind-the-scenes has like really grown.
I've learned how to really just gain confidence in my play-by-play speaking, and I've learned more terms here when it comes to directing and producing, and I've just had a great time with John Rook.
Doing the play-by-play stuff and all that, being with a guy like John Rook, understanding what like the major kind of entails doing this camp, just really a preview for what you do here at Dean or any other college doing broadcasting, so I'm definitely more prepared to make this a job of mine.
Here at McKeon Park, Hyannis Harbor, their season opener, and we've got our favorite segment back on the show. It is Beat D-Bot. He is 0-1. We had our first, what a graphic. That is phenomenal.
Shout out to Charlie Adams for that.
We had our first episode of this show last night, and we did, in fact, beat D-Bot. For those who did not tune in, this guy is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to knowing mascots of college teams. We're going to see if he can get himself on the board. D-Bot, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling like if I don't get it tonight, the segment's going to come to an end.
Oh, don't be that dramatic.
We'll see how it goes. I've got confidence.
I've got faith in you, D-Bot.
We've got Harrison Wilson on Harwich, which we haven't seen him tonight, but he does go to one Winthrop University.
Eagles.
Wow! Without hesitation. D-Bot levels the record at 1-1.
Yes.
Well done, D-Bot.
Yes.
We could not beat you tonight.
With authority.
That is
About time I get a win tonight.
Expertly done. That is a first pitch strike to Feinberg. D-Bot, a Boston Red Sox fan. We heard about the trade just a bit ago. Thank you so much.
Of course.
What a great segment. We love Beat D-Bot. Harrison Feinberg still facing Richie Roman, who's up for yet another inning. And that's a really, really good take.
I'd like to see Roman experiment a bit with the breaking ball in this inning. The fastball's been working for him. That's his forte. 95 to 98 on the top out there. The breaking ball seeped in a bit, but I'd like to see it more here.
That's a great pitch. Catches the inside of the zone.
And for Feinberg, seems time to start a rally for Harwich. 4-0, not an impossible deficit to erase. But only 3 hits across the 6 innings they've played.
That one nailed up the middle, bounces slowly. Gavin Roy can't make the throw. It's underneath the glove of Miles Bailey. Now an opportunity to get him back, tagged at first. They can't. Brody Briggs did a phenomenal job of going over to protect, and he was able to get that ball right back in play. But still, Feinberg gets on first.
Sure, those of you watching at home even wondered how he got there. Well, it was a furious sprint to the ball, almost covering in anticipation of Roy bouncing the ball into first base and Bailey, who made a good effort at the roller towards the bag, but could not corral it. Briggs there to apply the stress for Feinberg, who gets back in time. Rally may start here.
Eric Baker takes a ball outside. I feel like Briggs saw that it was going to be a tough play for Roy. It was one of those slow hoppers that really took its time to get down back on the ground, and he was going to have to take it on a hop. So a throw was going to be difficult, and that was exactly the case. Bailey just couldn't quite get it off the skip.
I believe the scoring has the incorrect player here, but they've tagged the error to Jake Schaffner at short. That was clearly from Roy. So I imagine they mean Gavin Roy there. It would be an E4 in that case on the second baseman.
That's right. It's a 1-1 count to Eric Becker, who is 2 for 2 on the day. 2 singles in his first 2 plate appearances back in the first and fourth innings. Runner goes on the pitch. It's a low for a ball, and it gets out of the infield. But Charlie Bates covers, and Feinberg couldn't hop back up quickly enough to try for third.
Briggs nearly pelted Becker with the ball. It just bounced right over him and sailed into the right center field alleyway. With multiple Harbor Hawks converging on it, easily in for the second stolen base of the night for Harwich,
Becker did take a ball, so it's a 2-1 count for him. Now a runner in scoring position.
Correct myself there. Second stolen base of the night overall.
And that one's fouled down the right field line. Both of these teams struggled a little bit when it comes to runners in scoring position. Last night against Bourne, I believe that Harwich was only 1 for 5, 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Hyannis 3 for 9. So they left a lot out there on the pond. That one's away. How about this? 3 hits on the day for Harwich as a team. 2 of them belong to Eric Baker up at the plate. No outs, payoff. We'll do it again.
Way to stay alive here from Becker, shooting a couple off the end of the bat into foul territory, and we have a broken bat here as Feinberg walks to the dugout, and the bat kid is going to replace his bat.
Nice catch.
Rather Becker making the great catch there. Really enthralled by these jerseys for Harwich. I haven't seen a ton of new jerseys in the Cape League across recent seasons, but this
They're
one
beautiful.
eerily reminiscent of the Cardinals. I don't know if it's their
the baby
alternates or really, really, really nice.
They are.
Beautiful.
They took their jackets, their red warm-up jackets off. We saw the blue unveiled underneath it, and it was just immediate. Whoa. That's going to be a walk. Eric Becker went to go get a new bat for no reason. He didn't lift it off his shoulder. And there are 2 on the bases to start the 7th inning.
And as much as you got 2 aboard for the first time in this game for Harwich, that is only the second walk issued by Hyannis pitching. None from Trey Beard in back-to-back innings from Richie Roman. And to Roman's credit, in the only time he's worked himself into trouble, he worked himself out of it tonight, an inning ago.
Hyannis only walked 2 in yesterday's game as well. Their pitching has been on top of it. And that's a great fastball right past Matt Conti, who's 0 for 2 in the ball game. He grounded into a double play back in the 4th after Eric Becker hit a single, got himself on base.
19 strikeouts in 2 games for Hyannis pitching.
And back-to-back swings and misses for Matt Conti.
A couple of breaking balls from Roman. That's exactly what I want to see him experiment with, Max. The fastball's been working for him, but the breaking ball, that gets dialed in too. He'll become nearly unhittable.
If he's going to throw a breaking ball here, there's no way it's going to be in the zone. You just get back-to-back hard fastballs, swung on a miss. We'll see. Another fastball. Ooh, didn't get the call. Might have been a little bit up, but, I mean, I think, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So he's going to triple up right there. I have a hard time believing he'll go back to it 4 times, but you don't want to run it to a 2-ball count. So we'll see with whatever pitch he thinks he can get in the zone. That is a comfortable pitch.
That one skips in, back-to-back balls. Briggs stays in front of it. Richie Roman, rising junior from Houston.
Yeah, and it looks like they're still trying to keep the ball down in the zone for that double play opportunity. And who knows, triple play opportunity.
That'd be something on a night where we've seen just about everything from blockbuster trades to foul poles being hit.
Who knows?
2-2. Grounded down in the dirt, and it actually goes off the leg of Conti. He seems to be all right, though.
Pretty big day in general. You got Father's Day, we got the U.S. Open, we got Devers being traded. Big news day across the board.
Sports world. Taking a couple cool hits today. It's a full count for Matt Conti. Runners on first and second, no outs. This one hit down the right side, and it gets through. Eric Becker did a good job avoiding, and Harrison Feinberg is held up at third. Bases are full of Mariners for one Jordan Jaffe coming up for his third plate appearance.
And this is where the Harbor Hawks were really good at yesterday. There was a lot of traffic earlier on, as it looks like head coach Mitch Carricker is going to make a move. But as I was saying, you know, the Harbor Hawks yesterday, they were really stranding base runners, and they have a challenge at themselves today, just like that, the tying run at the plate, and the game is just getting a little bit more interesting here in the 7th.
Richie Roman pitched the 5th and the 6th extremely well. They call him the Houston Hurricane, and he just absolutely tore this baseball club down with strikes in those first 2 innings, but the 3rd he started to struggle just a little bit. So they're going to bring in a new face to face Jordan Jaffe.
A righty coming in.
Jaffe 0 for 2 on the day, strikeout and a ground out. His ground out was right at Miles Bailey, the first baseman. A very hard hit ball, but Bailey made a good play. He's going to see what he can do against a new pitcher. Yet to see the number on the back of that jersey. Believe it is 44. And that is the jersey of one Isaac Williams. Williams, right-handed pitcher, 6'2", 215 pounds, rising redshirt junior in the transfer portal after 1 season at the University of Central Florida at a 9.28 ERA over 13 appearances, 10 2/3 innings pitched. And despite that inflated ERA, he only allowed more than 2 earned runs in an appearance twice this season. He had 8 appearances without allowing a single earned run. It's just that when the runs did start to cross home plate, it was hard for him to stop it.
And this is the setup for Coach Carricker, likely to get to one of his closers, Eddie Copper or Carson Jassa. Those are the 2 that were tabbed ahead of the season as guys that you'd see in the 8th and the 9th inning for the Harbor Hawks. It was Jassa to close things off, take it from Copper, so Copper set up Jassa. With 7, 8, 9 still on the register, he's going to get a full 3 outs here in the 7th. So it could very well be the progression that the Harbor Hawks could see for the bulk of the season. Williams to Copper to Jassa.
Williams, not necessarily a guy that relies on striking out. He only struck out 9 during his time at Central Florida in 2025. Spent his first 2 seasons at Jacksonville. Had a 4.56 ERA his final year, 25 2/3 innings pitched. And he struck out 27, making his first appearance here in the Cape League. Going to face Jordan Jaffe, who has had an interesting start to the season already, just on the defensive side of the ball. He's a third baseman by trade, but did spend his entire Richmond season over at first. Really learned the craft, learned to like that first base position, but he started at third base yesterday. And then now he's back over at first base, going to where he spent his college season at Richmond. And he had a phenomenal season in 2025 at Richmond. All-Atlantic 10, first-team member. Got off to a slower start this year, didn't get a hit in 3 of his first 6 games, and then only went hitless over 6 other games over the course of the season. He reached base in 34 straight games.
Sure.
How about it? That is maybe the highest.
Just about as well as you can do there.
Yeah.
I mean, what are there, 50 games in a college baseball season if you go the length of the year?
He played 52.
Yeah.
He got on base in 34 straight.
High clip for Jordan Jaffe, and he's going to need to execute here with no outs and bases loaded. Here, a difficult task for Isaac Williams to inherit 3 runners from Richie Roman.
Still trying to find his groove a little bit on the Cape this season. Went 0 for 3 yesterday. Did draw a walk, which brought in a runner. Now with 3 on the base pads, he's trying to do something similar. First pitch from Williamson, well away. Big cut and a miss. Jaffe, a lot of power. Tied for second in doubles for Richmond last season. 3rd in home runs, 3rd in RBIs, 2nd in batting average. No outs in the inning. And another big cut and a miss.
It's a huge strike right there. You really don't want to fall behind with the bases loaded. And now he puts himself in the driver's seat. And this is a guy who struggled this past season at UCF, and 11 hits per 9. That's why the ERA was up so high, north of 9. And anything you can do to put yourself in an advantage.
Jaffe goes down swinging. A big first out of the inning for Isaac Williams, and the 8th of the day for the Hyannis pitching staff. Brings up Shintaro Inoue. Inoue, we mentioned, went to Western Nebraska Community College in 2023. He's from Yamaguchi, Japan. Came to Western Nebraska without speaking a word of English. Takes a ball away. And he built his craft, was able to transfer to Kansas State, and then had an all-star year his first year. He's got a 1-0 count with the bases full. And it just misses.
Big looping breaking ball from Isaac Williams. Goes all the way across the zone. It could be danger, a righty on a lefty. If the hitter's able to put the bat on the ball at the right time, jam him at the hands and fist it towards right field.
Inoue well ahead. Likely going to have the red light pitch here. Bases full and no strikes. He does have power. Led his Western Nebraska Community College team back-to-back years in home runs. Williams gets an important strike on the bottom of the zone.
Close call. You're playing with fire on the outer black there. A fastball in perfect position. Can be risky. That outer corner, as you've mentioned, Max, has been iffy all night.
And just a 2.5 walks per 9 this past year, so it was the hits that were the problem. He has honestly not done that as much.
And it's called for a strike. Inoue cannot believe it. That looked blown away from up here, but it's called in the zone.
Wow. I mean, it looks like as this game's going on, the zone's getting a little bit more loose and loose, but I feel like head coach probably talking to him.
Yep.
Be like, hey, you got to flush it. And, you know, if you're the hitter up there, you got to be so frustrated because you just took away an RBI. And let's not forget, this game is not over. It does feel like the Hawks have a bigger lead than they really do because they have not scored any runs. That is the Mariners. But
the tying runs at the plate.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's still only 1 out in the inning. That is a huge – that could be a pitch that we come back to for the Harbor Hawks.
Head coach Steve Englert in 26th season in the CCBL, 21st as Harwich head coach. Got a lot of experience trying to pass that on to his second baseman. Payoff. And he gets the walk after all. First run of the day for Harwich comes via walk. And the bases are still full. No movement over in the left field line, which is the pseudo bullpen for Hyannis.
An unfortunate break for Williams. Will go on Roman's register after he loaded the bases. Hyannis pitching so clean around the zone, only allowed that first walk in the 6th, and 3 later, Harwich has its first run.
Maddox Maloney takes a ball up high. This is another guy that has all kinds of power and is not afraid to show it. 4th on Oregon this last year in home runs with 15. 4th in batting average at 309. Had the 2nd best batting average his freshman season at 315. As he takes a strike. He was first team All Pac-12 conference as a freshman. Just the 4th Oregon player to earn NCBWA Freshman All-America honors. That's how good he was. Didn't have as good of a sophomore year, but did not by any means have a poor one. 1-1. Max, it seems like Williams has lost a bit of his control.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these misses, they're just not competitive. I understand maybe missing right around the strike zone with some of those calls that we thought were balls, but, you know, a pitch like that, that's not what you want to do when you're on the hill, and it's got to be frustrating.
Still only 1 out. Big swing and a miss. Maloney well behind that offering.
It's a big pitch for Williams. Now you got a strike before any sort of fly ball, ground ball in play will end the inning and escape a jam that Richie Roman put him in.
And I mentioned that low walks per 9 last year, but that was honestly kind of paradoxical because his other seasons, especially his first 2 at Jacksonville State, he had a 7+ walks per 9 in each of those first 2 seasons before transferring to UCF.
I believe a fan caught a foul ball. The fans to our right started to cheer, looking over their shoulders.
If only it could count as an out like in the banana games.
Savannah Bananas. It's a 2-2 count. Maloney takes strike 3.
Strikeout that could define the game. We actually thought that pitch to Inoue would be one. That could very well be another moment right there that would flip this game in Hyannis' favor, with Harwich pressing its foot on the gas pedal to try and get back in it. 4-1, so some damage surrendered here by Hyannis pitching, who have otherwise been perfect all night.
And that now puts all the pressure on the hitter at the plate, because with 1 out, you know, the pressure's on you. You got to make your pitch. You cannot walk in a run, and of course that's still the case.
Baker chopper up the middle, and that's going to end the inning. Bases were loaded for 2 at-bats, and only 1 comes home in the top of the 7th inning. It is, however, the first run for Harwich as they try to claw back, try to get their way back into this inning, into this game rather, as we are going to set it down to the 4th member of our crew, Ava Fernandez. Ava?
Thanks, guys. I got an opportunity to talk to Megan Swenson, who's the Director of Baseball Operations here for the Harbor Hawks. And if anybody knows this team well enough, it's Megan. She told us earlier they made sure before the season to make sure that everybody has enough players to come in if somebody gets injured, if somebody gets hurt, and there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out throughout the season. Also, most of the people here are actually roommates on the Cape, as most of them come from all different parts of the country, United States, out of the country, everywhere. So we can definitely see the team coming together as they've worked together these past few weeks. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Ava. One of the joys of the Cape Cod League. So many people from so many different corners of the world coming together to play summer ball. About 40 games in the season. Hyannis and Harwich both with a win on opening day, trying to build upon it. And that was a big couple of outs for Isaac Williams in the top of the 7th to avoid what could have been a very big 7th inning.
And compounding it into further damage with Harwich's best hitters due up pretty soon. We go to Baker, then to Brinney, and then if you continue the 2-out rally, you're back to Broussard and Feinberg and Becker. Now they'll be up in the 8th or the 9th depending on how things shake out, but rather delay that, especially to get a fresher arm in. Williams did his job for sure.
E.J. Neville's still on the mound for the Mariners. And he's going to face Ryan McKay. McKay is single, and then a fly out in his 2 plate appearances. McKay takes a strike right down the center. He was on a 7-game hit streak to end his collegiate season, then went 0 for 4 in the season opener at Wareham. He did draw a walk and then struck out twice. And he also had a very big hit that well could have left the yard, but it's just a little too cold for that to happen. Takes a ball up and away.
Surprised to see Neville's come back out. Again, to face facing the order for a second time through. Hard pressed, especially with the temperature dropping.
Scoots out of the way of that pitch.
To try and stretch him that far with the brunt of the order coming up, and not to mention the most difficult part of the order in Schaffner, Williamson, Velasquez, soon to be due up.
One catches the zone. McKay did lead Michigan State in hits this last season. 67, also led in runs and doubles, but he does not play baseball with an ego. Also led his team in walks. It was enough for 18th in the Big Ten. He had 36 walks. As he swings through that pitch. Thought it was a dropped third strike. It was not. He'll head back to the dugout empty.
Neville has really settled in since taking over for Dempsey. And it's been impressive to see how almost the philosophy has changed from pitcher to pitcher on the greater scale, with the approach being reverse for Dempsey. Neville not keen to shy away from the fastball.
Big cut on the first pitch from Gavin Roy. Roy, the only player on Washington State, where he played his 2025 season, to start all 54 games. Played all of them at shortstop. He's at second base here tonight. Puts one in the ground. Jaffe fields it cleanly, takes it himself. Just gets there in time, 2 away.
And a quick inning here for Neville and Harwich is imperative for the comeback effort, but also for confidence as you build through the season. You can work yourself into deficits here. It looked like nothing was going on the hitting end, and the pitching, obviously not helping that out. But then you get 3 straight scoreless frames. He's an out away from the 4th straight scoreless frame since taking over for Dempsey, and that fuels the team for the remainder of the 38-game season.
Brody Briggs 0 for 2 on the day. Pulls back from a bunt. Briggs had to really step up big this season at Arizona State because Ryan Campos departed as an early round draft pick to the Cardinals organization. So all of a sudden he was thrown into a starting role. Takes a strike.
And that's almost what he's doing here. Lackey starts yesterday. Doesn't seem to be making a move off the bench. It looks like it's Briggs' game to finish. And then, but you get the opportunity right off the bat. And that is a very, very similar instance.
Takes the 1-1 low. He was a defensive monster this season. 28 defensive assists on the year. Led the team in throwing out 10 runners, which tied for 5th in the Big 12, despite seeing significantly fewer chances than the players ahead of him. He only played in 32 games. And still, he cut down quite a few. He's ahead 3-1. Max, 2 outs, you're ahead 3-1. Is this green light?
I mean, as the number 9 man, you just really want to start a rally. I would probably assume not, but if he gets one, he could be sitting dead red if it's over the heart of the plate. But you really want to turn it over to the top of the order. But because there are 2 outs, you could be seeing the green light. If not, probably a take.
Pitch. Swung on, hit towards center field. Broussard makes the play. 3 up, 3 down for E.J. Nevels in the bottom of the 7th, trying to get his bats up as quickly as possible. They got a run in the top of the 7th. They're trying to not go anywhere.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we know there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. Now that's how we all win. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
This week we've been working a lot with doing play-by-plays, just doing behind-the-scenes stuff with sports broadcasting, which I never really realized how much went into it, but it's been really cool.
They've grown a lot. I've never really done like a program like this before, so like seeing all the behind-the-scenes has like really grown.
I've learned how to really just gain confidence in my play-by-play speaking, and I've learned more terms here when it comes to directing and producing, and I've just had a great time with John Rook.
Doing the play-by-play stuff and all that, being with a guy like John Rook, understanding what like the major kind of entails of doing this camp, just really a preview for what you do here at Dean or any other college doing broadcasting, so I'm definitely more prepared to make this a job of mine.
Top of the 8th inning, let's take a look at what's going on around the league. Katuitt lost 1-0 to Wareham in 10 innings. YD took down Orleans 4-0. Chatham and Bourne in a close one in the 5th. And then Falmouth and Brewster, very similar, 3-2 in the 5th inning. These games, they get intense. They can go to extras. There was an extra inning game last night as well.
Orleans.
Yeah, Firebirds came on the better side. A walk-off throwing error by the shortstop. 2 runs come home.
Wow. That was against Katuitt as well, correct? Was it Orleans Katuitt? I think so.
I believe actually Katuitt might have pulled away with the win.
Wow. So
looks like yes, Katuitt would have. Oh no, no, we had an extra inning game. I'm looking at the wrong day, folks. Sorry about that. Looks like we had an extra inning game today.
Right.
The Katuitt Wareham game.
And then I believe Katuitt was also in an extra game yesterday.
And you would be right. A 5-4 loss to Orleans.
Man.
Although the league website, no, never mind. YD defeated Orleans. It's not bad.
Katuitt's been playing a lot of baseball.
Sure has. For an Orleans team as well that started the season at the bottom of not just the East Division but of the league. An abysmal start for Kelly Nicholson and the Firebirds. Trying to right the ship in 2025 after reaching the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship in 2023.
First pitch foul from Nico Brini. It is still Isaac Williams on the mound. Brini chops one, takes a weird hop. Miles Bailey with quick hands. One away.
Williams could be staying in to, yes, elongate his outing for his own benefit, but for Mitch Carricker, from a game coaching perspective, maybe to try and set up Copper or Jassa. Doesn't have to get a guy in between there to be the bridge between the setup man and the closer.
It was Copper last night who closed out that game on the road at Wareham. Newly renovated stadium. It was very nice.
Very nice.
Broussard, 0 for 3 on the day. And he takes strike one. He's lined out, struck out, grounded out. Looking to get that bat back on the ball. He's got a good bat. Was first on the Houston team in hits this year with 62. Second in average at 292. Silver Glove Series co-MVP, all Silver Glove outfielder. His defense is phenomenal. He also led the team with 18 multi-hit games. He can really do it all. Also ranked 34th nationally in stolen bases with 31. He's a great leadoff hitter. They just need to get him over there at first.
Oh,
that one right over
look
the
alive
dugout.
in the Hyannis dugout.
Yeah.
Watch your face.
There were a couple of those yesterday that they can come close to that dugout. The players all leaning over the rail.
That one comes screaming off the roof. Fortunately, just a graze by the Harbor Hawk bench. And Coach Carricker stone cold during that entire exchange.
Broussard behind. In for strike three. And he knew it. He turned away pretty much immediately when you heard the pop of the glove in the baseball. Strikeout number 10 for the Hyannis pitching staff. They had 11 last night. They have matched it. Wow. Pitching off to a hot start for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks.
Number first in the league entering the day. They're going to up that total, and you'd be hard-pressed to find another team with 20-plus strikeouts at this point in the season.
First pitch ball to Harrison Feinberg. 0 for 2 on the day. He reached on an error in his last plate appearance back in the 7th inning. Feinberg started his season started his career, actually, his college career at USC.
Fight on.
Takes a ball outside. Max Schwartzberg has a brother, played baseball at USC.
Hey, but Feinberg now playing, I have the privilege of calling him every spring at
That's
Northeastern.
Right. He transferred to Northeastern, has been phenomenal there.
Skis.
From one Schwartzberg to the other.
He's got a 3-0 count.
Can't get enough of it.
He had 23 multi-hit performances in 2025 at Northeastern. Average dipped under 300 once the clock struck March 29th, but then it got as high as 384 on May 10th at Williams. And he never looked back after that point, was just bouncing around in the high 300s. And that is a 4-pitch walk. He's going to take his base.
Less a reflection on Williams. Obviously, that last pitch wouldn't lead you to say that, but more so patience and maturity from Harrison Feinberg. 2 schools worth in 3 years of college baseball. Reaches base by exploiting the weaknesses of Isaac Williams.
I just want to throw this in there as well about Feinberg. He hit at least 1 home run in 16 games this season. Only 4 of those failed to precede or follow a home run. So strike in for
That's
Becker.
A wild stat.
He had back-to-back games with home runs 3 times this season.
The guy was unbelievable for head coach Mike Glavin, brother of Tom Glavin, and really propelled Northeastern to their first NCAA win in over 20 years. That is in the tournament.
Just a remarkable season for Northeastern. An alum, I don't believe an alum, Cam Maldonado on the Cape last
something
year.
interesting about it, Maldonado played on the Mariners last year. That's Harwich. But Feinberg and Maldonado share a very distinct closed stance at the plate. I don't know if they've talked about that, maybe given each other advice, but it's very distinct.
Maldonado was nothing short of prolific last summer.
And this past season for Northeastern as well.
It's a 1-2 count to Becker with 2 outs on the scoreboard. Runner over on first base in the Harrison Feinberg that we are talking about. We almost had a collision of Schwartzbergs over in the College World Series. USC and Northeastern had a path to play. Runner goes on the 1-2. It's hit to left center field, and it gets down. But Feinberg, he hesitated, so he can't get over to third. Still one in scoring position now for the Mariners.
With a more committed jump, Feinberg's at third right now, and they've got him on the corners with 2 outs against Williams. But like you said, Graham, he hesitated as he rounded second base, and Schaffner shuffled over to hold him up. The relay from left, good enough to keep him at bay.
Got some movement over in the bullpen, the bullpen area of both teams. Excited to see who Hyannis goes with for their closer. Who does Mitch Carricker turn to after Eddie Copper closed in last night's game? First pitch, strike swinging Conti. He's 1 for 3 on the ball game. A single grounded into a double play and then struck out. Conti batting in that cleanup spot. Only played 27 games in 2025 with Wake Forest. He did have 5 home runs, but his average, .295, which only playing 27 games, that's pretty darn good because it's hard to get into a groove, you'd think. Playing that few games, he was able to do so.
Right, and so quickly you're able to be accustomed to what your coach's philosophy is, the plate, the pitchers you're playing in your conference, their styles. Doubly impressive to do it in that short amount of time.
1-1 catches the edge. Conti
just completely stared him down. He didn't say anything.
What?
Do you see that?
No.
Do you see him look straight back at the umpire and just...
Really?
Oh, wow.
Not happy with
the
call.
That?
I didn't. I was looking down at my scorebook. 1-2.
Fouled
off.
Crazy.
As I was beginning to say before the standoff at home plate, I was wondering when we see Steve Englert or Mitch Carricker, for that matter, go to the pinch hitters on the bench. You got a few guys that could come in here and really rattle things up, try to get some fresh legs to the dish. New looks for pitchers as well makes it hard for the guys in the bump.
2 outs, 2 on. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Williams ends the inning and keeps a 4-1 lead for Hyannis. The Harbor Hawks going to try to find that insurance run in the bottom of the inning when we come back on Cape League TV.
Your future begins at Dean College.
Make a difference.
Leave your mark.
Break the mold.
Be a leader.
Achieve unimagined heights.
Believe in yourself.
Make lifelong friends.
This is your time.
Your place.
Your home. Your dean.
It all starts here at Dean College.
I got it.
Back in Hyannis. Check this out. This was the stare down. Right at the umpire.
And Graham was, in fact, looking at his scorebook. You could see in the middle right corner.
You could see me going, did you see that?
You see Max flinch.
Check the tape. Check the tape. We got a new pitcher coming to the
hello
bump.
to you as well. Sees up. We do have a new pitcher.
Michael Gray, the lefty from Denison, some D3 love here on the Cape. Lake Forest, Illinois native, 6'1", 190-pound junior. Lefty with 20 appearances last year, 42 innings pitched, a 4.01 ERA. We should bring on D-Bot for a mascot here. I was about to say the mascot and realized that I don't know it.
This is an unofficial beat D-Bot. Denison?
This is an unofficial beat D-Bot.
D3 monster.
Denison University, rivals of Graham's former school, Kenyon.
Yeah.
We can count this.
Little love between Kenyon and Denison.
I hope he's not looking it up.
Oh my goodness.
Boo. No one likes a cheater.
D-Bot. It's not. That's true. It's not an official
Can't
one.
hear D-Bot, but his grievance is that it's not an official one. So the record stays level at 1-1.
That would have been a good one. But rare that you see some D3 love on the Cape. Michael Gray broke the trend from Denison University. Had a 4.2 flat ERA, 17 games, 30 innings pitched, all in relief. And that one fouled off. Faces Jake Schaffner, the top of the order, leading off in this 8th inning. Schaffner 1 for 2 on the day. He walked back in the 5th. That was his most recent plate appearance. He had a single in the 3rd. It's one into left field, and that's going to be his second single of the ball game for Jake Schaffner. Really good patience on that pitch, a slow breaking ball. He waited for it to get to him and still was able to get the bat on the ball, push it the other way.
Yeah, it's just a professional at bat right there. Gets down in the count 0-2, but no harm, no panic. Doesn't hit it all too hard, but that's not what matters. You got to hit it where they ain't. Stakes the barrel out, gets the fat part of the bat, and a leadoff single for the big guns, Andrew Williamson, who's halfway to the cycle.
Check over at first base. Andrew Williamson, I mean, you talk about his power all day long. We pretty much have. I want to talk about his approach, though, his mentality, his clear maturity at the plate. He is so good at drawing walks. He's so good at being disciplined. And we got another check. It really just speaks volumes to how well he is aged in the game of basketball, in the game of baseball. We're a couple months away from basketball.
Maybe he's a hooper. We don't know. We got to figure that out.
NBA finals.
NBA finals are on my mind. That's right. Shows bunt. That's a great example of what I'm trying to talk about. He's got all the power in the world, could swing for the fences, but he shows bunt.
And I think that was best exemplified yesterday when after every pitch, he would turn to the dugout and try to tip them off to what look was coming. Right, he's doing it again right here. He's really stepped into this leadership role early in the season.
Jaffe has to try to get that one in. Reminder, there's no disengagement rule in Cape League baseball, so he can go over to first as many times as he's like.
And remember, folks, Mitch Carricker has had a lot of success in a short amount of time in the Cape League. It's only his second season. It's not one thing for a manager to be leading the way, but you still, whether you're Steve Englert, 26-year veteran of the Cape League, or Mitch Carricker in your second year, you need players that are going to step up as the leaders on your team.
Williamson ahead. And his lead grows. 3-0 count to the hard-hitting lefty. 2 for 3 on the day, a single and a 2-run homer. Then a ground out over to Jordan Jaffe at first base, back in the 5th inning. That one just catches the zone. It's been a while since he's been up to the plate. He's had about 3 innings to just rest, cool down. It's got to be hard when you don't get up to bat don't swing the bat for a while to keep your momentum.
Especially with the temperatures dropping. Not quite to the level we saw last night at Wareham. Frigid, 58 degrees, I believe, when you asked us to guess the temperature, Graham.
Yeah.
59 right now, so I sit corrected.
You should have guessed it. I thought we said we were going to do that.
Another check over. That's got to be number 4 or 5. Checks over at first base in this at-bat.
College baseball in its purest form right here.
I mean,
makes no sense. I mean, you would think, if you got the pitch clock, you might as well have the disengagement.
5-pitch walk for Williamson, 2 aboard.
And the maturity, go ahead. But the maturity on display right there from Andrew Williamson to take what he has, take what the pitcher gives you. Work the walk.
I'd agree with you, Max. I feel like if you've got the pitch clock, you should have the disengagement rule, but it takes a while for these things to happen. How long did it take to get a pitch clock in MLB? So we'll see if it ever happens, but I feel like it's got to be coming up. I feel like it's got to be approaching.
Yeah.
Ray Velasquez moves his right foot out of the way.
And when the NCAA steps, the Cape League will follow, I imagine.
Yeah.
In that regard, they try to simulate college baseball and NCAA play as best as possible for the players.
We got time called. I want to make sure that wasn't a pitch clock violation. I don't believe it was.
I think he was telling him to make sure that they're both making eye contact when he starts his motion. Velasquez was still looking down.
Velasquez takes a strike. Ray Velasquez, one of few on this Hyannis lineup, one of few in the batting order that didn't go to a big name school, SEC school. Went to Austin Peay. He nails the pitch deep to left field. Brinney at the warning track. And the cold gets the better of Ray Velasquez. Runners tag up the play at third in time. A big double play. And just like that, only one in scoring position when there could have been one 90 feet away.
That is a momentum swing, to say the least. A hard hit ball from Velasquez. He just gets under the fastball, and then he sails it to left field. What an incredible relay throw from Nico Brinney to hose Schaffner at third base. That's the second time tonight that Schaffner has been caught at third base. And Max, to your cardinal rule,
never make the last out at third.
Precisely.
Never be the last out at third? Is that what you said?
Never make the last out at
third.
Make
the last out at third.
That's how the saying goes.
Granted, it was only the second out, but nonetheless, the significance of the point holds.
Miles Bailey takes a ball. So deceiving with the cold how far the ball can travel, because that was absolutely smashed off the bat.
It was definitely 100 plus off the bat, but I think he still did get maybe
just
little bit
shade
under it.
Yeah.
Of course, if this field played big like that, if the ball's carrying out to left, if the wind's blowing out, that's probably going to be a home run. But given where we are, right at sea level, wind blowing relatively in, you have to be perfect. And he did probably get that launch angle a little bit below. They do all these analytical tests. They say the best launch angle to hit a home run line drive fly ball is 29.6 degrees. That one definitely over 35.
2-1 count. 29.6?
Yep.
That's awfully specific.
Is very specific.
Yeah.
They do a lot of these tests that, drive line, and the best home run by definition is a fly ball / line drive that you catch out in front. Because if it's too high of a fly ball, it's not going to leave in all the parks. But it's too low of a line drive, it's not going to leave in all the parks. You got to get that mixture, and that's where that 29.6 comes into play.
5-pitch walk for Miles Bailey. 2 back on the base pads, but 2 outs.
And I imagine that of all the players that have the strength to leave the ballpark at a launch angle below 29.6, what would be called a frozen rope, Miles Bailey is among them. And as is Andrew Williamson, that's 2 on first and second base, respectively.
Might have to start a new segment on this broadcast this season. Stat Facts with Max.
Oh, I like it. Move over, D-Bot. You've got a new best segment name.
It's a ball low for Hayden Federico. That is very cool. I like baseball has gotten very statistical, kind of like
it's just a different game from what it used to be. And all these games are evolving, and the more the numbers get, some guys don't want to hear it. They're like, I want to hit, I want to play baseball. Yes, we can work on my swing, the mechanics, but I don't want to hear any of these numbers. Other guys are super fascinated with it. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to go. Obviously, they're trying to improve their swing. They're trying to improve their mechanics. But at the end of the day, there's all this new information given to these guys, and it's just so cool to see how the game has evolved as a result of it.
For a league like this, Max, which approach would you say best behooves the players?
I mean, obviously they have the analytics guy, the Harbor Hawks employee, and analytics intern. So I think players, as that's a pitch clock violation on 3-0, bases will be loaded. But players, as head coach coming out here, might make a change. But as I was saying, I don't think there's a wrong way to go, but I think whatever works best. You know, if you talk about in MLB, guys like Tommy Pham are super into the analytics. They're talking about, you know, WOBA, WRC plus, X batting average. Right. But there's other guys like, you know, Manny Machado who are like, you know, I want to go out here and play baseball. And, you know, Manny Machado is the better player than Tommy Pham. But there are those analytics stat heads that are better. So I think you could play to your strengths, play to your interests, and I think you can't really go wrong either way.
Well, it looks like they're not going to go with a change here. The Mariners wanting to save that final arm for the final inning, if they're able to bring it back in the top of the ninth. I feel like I've seen a lot of stats paired with pitching. I don't know if I've seen it as much with batting, but with the spin on the baseball, there's a lot more you can get there. I've seen it less with batting. That could just be my perspective. That pitch catches the outside corner to Charlie Bates. Bases are fully loaded, 2 outs. This is the biggest at-bat of the night by far for Harwich. Bates 0 for 3 on the day. Checks his swing, strike nonetheless. Center fielder 1 for 4 in yesterday's game. That's a ball up high. Again, I just want to mention that Michael Gray on the mound goes to Denison University, D3 program, facing Charlie Bates, goes to Stanford. Gray pulling his weight, 1-2.
Great spin.
Really good pitch, but a really good take.
That's just unbelievable. That started right down the middle. You think it's going to catch the bottom of the zone, and it just ducks below, down, maybe a little bit out. And that's so hard to lay off, especially left on left. Charlie Bates, professional take.
Deuce is wild. Full count. Bates has worked it all the way back. Gray strikes him out. And he is pumped up. The Harbor Hawks go back empty. They had the bases loaded, and the D3 pitcher got his team out of it. 4-1 heading into the top of the ninth.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And Cam Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. Cam Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.
If you need to dig, lift, move, grade, clear, or cut, pump, weld, clean, light, and just about anything else, dial up the rental source for the newest and the most reliable equipment in New England. Staffed with equipment and construction experts, Milton Rents, your local source.
Top of the ninth inning. We take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Back in action tomorrow at home before a little road trip to Chatham and Bourne. Back home against Wareham, the team they played on opening day. Then at Cotuit. Good schedule upcoming for this next week.
Brewster down by a run to Falmouth in the bottom of the 7th. Another team trying to flip horrid fortunes from last summer. last in the West Division. Falmouth trying to go worst to first in 2025. Chatham as well in danger of an 0-2 start. They trailed Bourne 4-2 in the top of the 8th at Doran Park. 2 games have gone final. I was going to say a few innings ago, this has been a relatively quick game. We made it to the top of the 7th in about 98 minutes, Graham and Max.
Yeah.
And now it's slowed up with the intensified drama here in the late innings.
New pitcher, I believe, on the mound. Trying to see the number. It's so difficult. It is number 11, Ryan Speshak. Speshak making his first appearance on the Cape this summer. Rising sophomore at Stanford. Season ERA of 5.33 over 21 appearances, 27 innings pitched.
2 no-hitters in high school at Dos Pueblos High School in Goleta, California. Struck out 18 batters in 1 game.
Wow.
That is unbelievable.
That's unhittable.
Struck out 38 in 2025 for the Cardinals. He faces Jordan Jaffe. Jaffe 0 for 3 on the day with 2 strikeouts. Still looking to get a hit in the Cape this summer. Takes a strike on the first pitch the entire way. Trying to see what the closer has in store for him. Oh, 1. Chopped up the middle. Going to be a tough play for the Hawks. Roy makes the throw in time.
You said it, Graham. Tough play indeed. Momentum going against the grain. Has to plant and fire and throw a strike to Miles Bailey. Went out in the 9th.
This broadcast is a copyrighted production of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Any unauthorized duplication, retransmission, or other use is strictly prohibited. In a way, fouls went off right over to our broadcast booth.
That would have been Schwartzberg and Nash with each one.
You guys don't know. I mean, you have no way. My lifelong dream is to catch a foul ball while broadcasting. Or maybe a home run at Northeastern, because I broadcast from the right field football press or soccer press box.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no dice so far in about 81 games at the helm with the headset.
It's a 1-1 count to Shintaro Inoue. 0 for 2 on the day with a walk. Gets a strike. He was the one that walked in a runner back in the top of the 7th inning. That's the 1 run that Harwich has been able to tally. I do want to say that one of my good friends at Indiana, Luke Brenneman, who's the broadcaster for the Mariners, did catch a foul ball during a baseball game at Indiana this year.
Wow.
We were on the call together. I believe it was Indiana, Illinois. And
okay.
Like clean catch?
Clean catch. We have it on video. We have it.
Oh, my gosh.
The batter took a foul ball that ricocheted off the umpire's headset, flipped over the net, and he caught it.
If he achieves nothing more in his broadcasting career, which I'm sure will not be the case, he's excellent at what he does, that will still be the greatest thing ever.
It was pretty
unbelievable.
It came right in between us, and I'm not
was,
gonna lie.
Was he on play-by-play?
He was on play-by-play,
and he continued the call.
And he continued the call.
He's like, I made the catch.
Hats off to Brendan down there.
It was kind of
hats off. He can't see us, but
he
hats
cannot
off.
see us.
Wow.
1-2 pitch to Inoue. He hits a blooper into center field, and it's a single. Inoue rounds first hard, but he's going to pump on the brakes. 1-out single in the 9th for the second baseman. Just to tie the knot on this story, Luke, when he did catch it, was so perplexed by what just happened. It was like we were on radio, and he says, 2-2 pitch, fouled back, and I caught it. He sounded... It was
shock.
It was shock. It was shock. He couldn't believe it, and everyone started clapping for him. Then he was like, "Guys, I'm the broadcaster. No one needs to look at me. Look away."
He kept the ball, right?
No, he handed it to me because he was so nervous. Ripped down the left field line, and it's foul.
In most cases, go ahead.
I gave it back to him, but I don't know what he did.
No, that's his ball. That's got to go in some sort of.
Yeah.
Is there a rafter at WIUX? Is that the right?
That is the right stage.
That's going into a mantle.
Right. There's got to be some sort of trophy case. On this day, Luke Brenneman caught a foul ball while on play-by-play on radio.
We'll have to ask him if he still has it. 0-1. Maddox Maloney takes the ball away. It was quite the show. It was an unbelievable moment.
In most cases, we broadcasters are up here for a reason, folks. That is the rare case of Luke could probably be in left field for that game.
Yeah, he might have been. That was a walk-off as well. That was a great game. Indiana just took down Illinois in the bottom of the 9th. Swing and a miss for Maddox Maloney. Maloney 0 for 3 on the day, 2 strikeouts, his first ball game with the Mariners. Got in this morning to Harwich. And he's trying to spark a 1-out rally in the top of the 9th for his team, who trail by 3. Ryan Speshak gonna lock back in. And he throws one in the dirt. A great pick from Brody Briggs. Speshak allowed more than 2 earned runs only 3 times this season. Allowed 0 earned runs 9 times this season. And a really strong finish. Didn't allow an earned run in 3 of his last 4 appearances at Stanford. Trying to carry that into the Cape League. Ground ball, third base. Velasquez gets the out at first, 2 away.
Smart play. You know, probably not going to get him at second, and the risk is, yes, maybe you do get him, but if you don't get him, he'll probably leg that out at first, and you got nobody.
We've seen a bit of a closer by committee in this young season from Coach Carricker, Blaze Martinez, the pitching coach, and the rest of the staff. Last night, Jassa, you get Copper to set him up, and then you go to Speshak here, and out away from his first outing on the Cape League, closing in a second win for Hyannis.
He's going to face Davis Baker, the 8-hole hitter. 0 for 1. He drew a walk back in the 6th. And he takes a ball the whole way. Baker, the DH, all the way down in the 8 spot. Left-hander facing the righty pitcher. He did not play in the season opener. 2 straight balls, pretty much in an identical spot. Three straight balls.
You wouldn't be surprised at an infield visit. He gets a walk here, maybe initiated by Briggs ideally. Try to calm down the righty Speshak as he tries to close this game out.
Pitch. Finds the zone for the first time. Speshak from Goleta, California. Goes to Stanford. California kid through and through. Trying to get the final out. 3-1. Catches, full count. Speshak gets him out. Hyannis wins their home opener in 2025 and are 2-0 to start the season. It's a convincing 4-1 win. Good hitting, better pitching. And this is a very good sign of things to come if you are the Harbor Hawks and if you are head coach Mitch Carricker.
It's a complete win. You got great pitching, you got great hitting, you got great fielding. You cut down on the errors from last night, which was one of the goals for Coach Carricker and co. coming into this game, as he told you a couple hours earlier, Graham, and you saw your power hitters display their power. And that was a very fun thing to see all around. But Hyannis pitching remains at the forefront of the story. They come off an 11 strikeout night and follow that up with a 12 strikeout night. What you got?
13
strikeouts.
Wow.
So the Cape League scoreboard ups my count. And it further proves the point that this is a pitching staff that is not just good for the Cape League, that is elite, composed of some of the best college baseball players in the country. Of course, this entire league, that's the hallmark of a Cape Cod baseball summer. and Hyannis has a very good pitching staff in the young season.
The Harbor Hawks had one of the best ERAs in the season last year, also one of the best batting averages. It appears they've picked up right where they left off. They swept the Mariners last season in the season series. Max, this win seemed to be as easy as it could be. They threatened, the Mariners did, in the 7th, and still the pitching staff able to get out of that bases-loaded jam.
I think what you really like to see is the way that this team has responded to adversity throughout the first 2 games. Yes, none of the wins have been necessarily picture-perfect, pretty smooth sailing, but the Harbor Hawks had the foot on the pedal throughout the entire night today, and then when trouble did come, they were able to bear down, grab the win. They did the same thing yesterday, a lot of traffic on the base paths, and I know head coach Mitch Carricker has to be proud of his ball club through the first 18 innings of play.
So Hyannis, they get set to face Brewster tomorrow, another home game at 6 p.m. Brewster down 3-2 right now in Falmouth, the bottom of the 2nd inning. And Falmouth with runners in scoring position on 2nd and 3rd. So the Whitecaps will make the journey to Hyannis tomorrow. First pitch set for 6 p.m. But for now, that is going to do it for our entire crew. I'm Graham Nash alongside Giovanni Collada and Max Schwartzberg. Hyannis wins their home opener in 2025.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.